Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to OPC Season 2 as we're about to head into Match 3 of the evening. You saw the champions just before we got back in, that's correct. The Flash Wolves are back in action. They will be taking on AHQ in our final match of the day.
This is going to be an exciting one. We've already talked about this a bit, but just to kind of recap on the stakes here, for those who aren't really aware, look, this is the grudge match. This isn't just the grudge match of OPC, this is the grudge match of Taiwanese esports. These two organizations are bitter and long-time rivals across every single game, and Flash Wolves are coming into this as Season 1 victors. There is a lot on this match.
Yeah, absolutely. There they are. Flash Wolves recently back from the Overwatch World Cup, where they did have a pretty tough run there. Their opponents here, AHQ, third place team from Season 1, and they've had a pretty decent performance so far. Already victories on the board for this team. They already took out Hong Kong Attitude on day number 1. And on day number 2, they took out Marchi as well, only dropping one map there. So their overall record, 6-1 in terms of maps.
And those are the teams that threatened their standing the most during Season 1, especially Hong Kong Attitude, whom they lost a number of games to towards the end of Season 1. That was a very, very good win for them to pick up right off the bat. Something they're very, very pleased with, I can guarantee you that. But this is going to be the real test. And the thing we have to say as well is...
Sorry, I have to correct myself. AHQ beat Liberant Supreme on day 1.
You're quite right. They haven't beaten Hong Kong Attitude yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
And that's going to be an interesting one.
It will be. It will.
At a later time.
Eventually. But beating out Machi is honestly still significant, don't get me wrong. And the reason for that is, again, that's the other organization in this tournament from Taiwan. Again, it's a team that they have played against a lot, that they've clashed against a lot. Both this particular team in Overwatch and also the organizations have clashed a lot as well. There is a lot of kind of old tensions between indeed all three of these orgs, but right now in terms of the OPC, these are the two that are the closest. And the interesting thing about it is actually in the Season 1 results, as much as these are the two closest Taiwanese teams, Blank Esports drove a wedge through that, taking out second place. They beat out AHQ and then lost to Flash Wolves. So AHQ kind of look at that, and they didn't get their chance to take on Flash Wolves in the finals. They had that taken from them. And they are really, really dying to take this match now and show how they could have performed in that finals. It's not the same kind of match, to be sure, but that's kind of what they want to do here. Exactly,
and Rapid himself has said, you know, in an interview, he mentions Bacon Jack is that player that he is targeting, because Rapid comes into AHQ as the star, takes a play on the DPS role. He wants to be able to make sure that he dislodge Bacon Jack from that number 1 position. And Shylin looking to do exactly the same thing. So you do have a number of players now, especially from the Taiwan scene, really looking to remove Flash Wolves, not just specific players, but the entire team from that number 1 spot. And Artigan certainly keeping their eye on the championship as well now, both teams side to side.
That's one of the things about being at the top. It also draws a very big target on your back. It's kind of like being first in Mario Kart. In any case, the lineup of that first place team, for those who are meeting them now for the first time,
it certainly should be a little bit more familiar. Now, I guess
Jongi
is the starting person that we want to talk about here because he is the star Winston player. He is just the main tank in general, but Winston has been his go-to. We said, and specifically I said, best Winston of OPC Season 1, looking to be the best Winston of OPC Season 2 as well. A little bit more competition this time around, but there is certainly still that factor to consider. And Bacon Jack, the man himself.
Yeah, this is the guy, right? This is the best Tracer of Season 1. Yes, that is a title that is being contested, but he is the defendant of said title and could still come out the victor. Sinclair as well. It's funny, right? They won Season 1. Of course, every single player is some absolute superstar in their own right, but Sinclair, a fantastic support player. Zonda, incredibly flexible on the DPS, and of course, last but not least, is going to be Realment.
Now, Realman's someone I had a good time chatting to at the World Cup, actually, specifically, and he did mention, you know, while the team is a little bit down, they want to come back into the season and sort of turn that around, because Flash Wolves had a lot of expectations at the World Cup. Unfortunately, not all those expectations were met, and something that I sort of consider about this team is the last time you see Flash Wolves really lose, which is in Season 1 against both Marchi and AHQ, they bounced back stronger than ever. So the opportunity now that after losing internationally, they can come back and bounce back again.
Yeah, that is absolutely what their plan is, right? But of course, on the other side of that is AHQ, who, you know, it's not so much about bouncing back, it is just setting the precedent, right? This is going to be the baseline. The result of this match is going to be the baseline for what the top 3 will look like for Season 2, full stop. There are no two ways about that. These are both top 3, top 4 caliber teams. That hasn't changed. There may be teams this season that challenge that, that dislodge that, but coming into this, they are already top 4 teams. The question is, where are they relative to one another?
And, you know, that is a big thing for AHQ as well, because, you know, after having chatted with some of the team members and some of the coaches from the OPC teams during the offseason, they did mention, look, AHQ looked like the team that may be falling behind. They were the team that were barely able to keep their number 3 spot. In fact, in the last 2 round robins, getting beaten by HKA, only staying in the top 3 because of good results elsewhere. Now, for Hong Kong Attitude, they're now starting the season off a little bit slow here, so for AHQ, they get that little bit of a boost, and there certainly would be an additional boost should they get a favorable result against Flash Wolves, but the question still does remain, because the criticism was that other teams had gone better, and AHQ, at that stage at least, hadn't shown that same level of progress. Now we've seen Rapid, we've seen this new AHQ squad, and they do look good, and they said they were confident
really
against Flash Wolves, and I would have to agree, I'm confident for them.
And I think the interesting thing there with it being Rapid that gives them a lot of that confidence is he's also the one that comes into this with no history. On all these other members will be a lot of pressure, and indeed on the side of Flash Wolves as well. As far as Rapid is concerned, this is just another game, right? He can just come in, he can play his game, he can play his beats, and we'll just have to see how that one goes. For everyone else, there's going to be all these layers upon layers of victories and losses and history that they have against one another, and sometimes that can weigh you down more than it can bolster you up. That is not something that's going to affect Rapid. He is coming to this young and fresh and ready to fight.
Certainly, Matt Pick, you did actually see there was Lijiang Tower picked by Flash Wolves in the home position. So as a home team, Flash Wolves will get Matt Pick's 1, 3, and 5. That is the control, assault, and the last hybrid, as well as the starting sides. AHQ will take Matt Pick's 2 and 4, the hybrid first one, and of course the escort as map number 4. So the other thing to consider for Flash Wolves as a team is, for their preparation for the World Cup specifically, they were practicing on an older patch. So other teams were practicing the Doomfist patch. Flash Wolves were not. They were practicing the patch before that with no Doomfist, without the Zaya buff, without the Reinhardt buff. And so they do come into this slightly underprepared. If Ardian thought they were underprepared under practice, I would say Flash Wolves would be even less prepared than that.
I think that's a completely fair assessment. The one piece of history we do have is, of course, very early in Season 1, we were still seeing, not so much the Zarya, but we were seeing a bit of Reinhardt. And it is something that Flash Wolves can actually play with an amount of proficiency. So that is just kind of the baseline. And you can also guarantee, right, they will have been scrimming on the most recent patch to practice for OPC Season 2 here. But you're completely right in that they've actually had to do a bit of both because of World Cup as well. So now it is all going to be put to the test. We're going to find out which of these two teams strikes first blood in OPC Season 2.
Speaking of Zonda as well, he was the player that mentioned if they are going to play Doomfist, it will be him picking it up, and that does make sense. If you look at the Ardian lineup, Erster, who played the same position as Zonda on the team as a second DPS, that is not the Tracer player, you are the one that is going to be picking up that Doomfist. So for Zonda,
speaking of,
I'll be looking forward to, well, yeah, a little bit of a spoiler just as we're about to get into that, but yeah, absolutely, Zonda picking that one up, and I would like to see how he goes. And unfortunately, he might have heard you there, and he says, you know what? Just for that ginger guy, I'm not doing it.
Oh, ouch. Well, that is going to be a mirror coming out of these two teams as well. Long gun, short gun, Tracer, Soldier 76. Let's see how the opening skirmish goes.
Of course, Dizzy versus Zonda. It's a big battle. Rapid versus Bacon Jack, one we've been looking forward to as one so far, even on both sides.
Absolutely, even in fact, it's currently Flash Wolves getting beaten back just a little bit. Bacon Jack trying to make that not become an absolute rout. Really trying to keep the pressure on. Needs to be careful though. Good retreat. And now Flash Wolves come back in for the re-aggress. It is AHQ on the point. Oh, and good pick onto Bacon Jack. Dizzy goes off now as he takes out the other DPS, and suddenly AHQ, with the pressure on the point itself, draw out Flash Wolves and absolutely slam the column as it marches forward.
And this is the progression that AHQ have made in the offseason. Dizzy has definitely come a long way. He already was one of the best soldiers, if not the best soldier of OPC Season 1. Now he's shooting down Bacon Jack. He converts onto Zonda as well. This guy is a machine of Rapid, already onto the pulse bomb. We haven't even seen the Tracer duel yet, but so far Dizzy is winning, at least on the soldier side.
Wow. Kerry's getting the sneaky pick onto Bacon Jack as well. Unfortunate for him, means Flash Wolves won't really get a good chance to fight just yet. Have to wait for that respawn first.
Already AHQ getting a decent lead. Keres has been a player that has been also really picking themselves up. You know, the first time AHQ beat Flash Wolves, that's when they bench Eddie Boss, put Keres onto the roster. Now Keres is on the core roster. He's on the starting and only 6-man roster, and you can see why he's there.
Already Bacon Jack forced to use that recall. They're really keeping this flank on lockdown. They understand that you cannot let Bacon Jack go off. They're keeping the pressure on. Sinclair, though, with that Transcendence, gives them the space to fight. Now Dizzy's going to have to get something big out of the attack visor, but he gets taken down. They were able to take out a couple of members, so it is essentially even Stevens, but Flash Wolves have more resources in the tank here as the sound barrier for AHQ runs out. Jongi's going to have to pop that ultimate to stay alive, and K-Momo does get back into the mech. That is key. Jongi getting topped up as well means suddenly they have a numbers advantage, don't need to use that ult, and Flash Wolves are looking well set up on the point. They need to close out the last couple of kills here, but this is very winnable.
Well, that was almost a 1v1 there between Bacon Jack and Rapid. In fact, Rapid might just want to continue that one. The cap's still in the favor of AHQ, so while this is all happening, AHQ collecting the points here, and that's what's going to give you the victory. That's what really counts right now. Flash Wolves, if you're going to win the fight, you need to cap the point.
And honestly, AHQ are making them work for it. Finally, Flash Wolves able to put on the gas just at the end there. Zonda picking up a couple, and that will be the closeout there. Eric nearly turned it back around to kind of even up the tide, but it will finally be Flash Wolves getting the cap, but not before AHQ push it past 90%.
Now, that's a big factor for AHQ now, as 91% is a winnable position. One good fight for AHQ, and they could be able to secure this. Flash Wolves will be immediately in desperation mode. The good thing for Flash Wolves is they will be coming up on ultimates first. They need to be dominant with that. They need to set up a number of fights, push it to 90% themselves, and actually flip the table onto AHQ, make them play into desperation instead.
And they need to be hyper-disciplined with their ultimate cycling, because AHQ have the time to just draw out ultimates from Flash Wolves, not take too many losses, not let them charge up more, and then come in with an advantage.
Of course, Flash Wolves still holding on. So I think for AHQ, taking a slower approach here, a really quick Transcendence, so now I guess the approach has to be much quicker.
Yeah, Rapid 2 deep, and Dizzy opens up as a numbers advantage is already present. That is a little unfortunate for AHQ, and also nothing from that tactical visor. Now Flash Wolves have the deeper pockets as Zonda opens up with his own tactical visor. Doesn't have too many targets, but the members of AHQ are worse for wear as Bacon Jack starts to close them out. And there we go. You get them all low enough, eventually someone's got to fall, and it is AHQ getting beaten back. That is the fight Flash Wolves wanted.
Absolutely, AHQ can't afford to lose too many more here. They do bank up the majority of the ultimates there. They spent two. Transcendence slightly questionable. I think Keres might have been forced to use that. Dizzy wanted to turn things around. They said, look, we're going to get the fight started now, but we need kills. Couldn't find the kills, and that's when Flash Wolves turned on the heat themselves, and Zonda picked up what AHQ could not. And now, the progress, that gap closes. AHQ only have the window of one fight left before Flash Wolves overtake them.
Right now, this is a game that could come down to either of these traces landing a great pulse bomb. So keep an eye out on both of them. In fact, as I say it, Bacon Jack catches Dizzy.
I had my eye out.
As they tick over 82%. Rapid needs to find something similar against Zonda. Indeed, he does. Eric is already down.
One clip.
And Rapid keeping it up now. They are still waiting on the respawn from Dizzy and need to keep the pressure on the point, but Rapid is keeping his team very much in this fight. He has the self-destruct to commit. Indeed, there it goes. As Jongi uses the Primal Rage, he has to bump off the point, but He back in the mech is crucial for them. Sound barrier as well. They need to last out Singler's Transcendence. Good pick on Jongi to pop him off the edge. K-Momo converts onto Dizzy. Rapid still holding onto this pulse bomb. He is just waiting for the right target. May have found it. Doesn't connect as Sinclair uses the Transcendence. They're keeping this one on lockdown now as they did get the point cap over. But it is still anyone's fight. The numbers are there for both teams, and they are all out of resources. This is going to come down to Zonda and whether or not he gets a good tactical visor. It opens out. What can he close? He gets Eric. It's traded back, and Zonda's down. His mech is gone as well. They're starting to close it out. Finally, Bacon Jack turns the pressure back on, and now it's all down to Rapid. This is what a poetic way, honestly, to end off what is only the first map of this first match. The Pulse Bomb does catch your mech, but it is Flash Wolves' point. AHQ are trickling on, and it is all there to win.
Absolutely, and it does look that way so far. Actually, don't want to give this one up too early. They do actually get a kill into Bacon Jack, which could give them opportunity here. If they can convert into another kill, because they are still in this, it actually is not over.
Eric keeps them alive by diving for the point. Dizzy is still healthy enough with this tactical visor. They'll get a cap of their own here as they close out Zonda. K-Momo as well, out of the mech and into the grave. Now the cap back again for AHQ. How long will it stay at 99-99? Bacon Jack desperately trying to hold on to the point, but they are going to get the cap. The overtime disappears. No Flash Wolves members. That has got to be the tightest finish to what is only the first clash between these two teams.
Yeah, call it picture perfect. You're going to have to get the TMO out for that one. And just right at the final moments, AHQ turned it around. And what we thought might have been the Flash Wolves' victory there, it was, in fact, Eric coming in. Crucial Primal Rage timing, just long enough to get the rest of the AHQ members to be able to flood back and reinforce the tactical visor from Dizzy. Absolutely important. Rapid, though, that double kill in the middle, I think that's what turned it around.
Absolutely, I agree with you there. And the thing is, Bacon Jack pulled similar weight. I mean, the jury is still out as to who is the better
They didn't
tracer.
fight each other.
Yeah,
they killed each other's team, but they never dueled.
Exactly. I mean, that's part of what's making it so exciting. But this may just be our first Doomfist out the gate from the Flash Wolves.
It certainly is, and Zonda's not hesitant at all. He said he was going to pull it out. Well, he said he might pull it out. And certainly he has. Now, Bacon Jack's going to stick onto the same thing. Dizzy, AHQ, still waiting to see if they might ever go Doomfist.
Yeah, Flash Wolves wheeling around the backside to get onto the point, and AHQ take the courtyard. So at some point, Zonda is going to have to get aggressive into this courtyard. AHQ, they will have to attack onto the point itself, but they don't mind that too much. Bacon Jack pressured out on the side. Wow, too deep as Dizzy picks him. That's a good opening now as they get good damage onto K-Momo. And they have a window. They take it, dive in. Zonda does get a pick in among the chaos, but goes down immediately after. And AHQ are looking all over this point. Flash was just kind of crumbling. Losing Bacon Jack was so crucial because they lost all the pressure on the side that was keeping AHQ stuck in the courtyard.
And this is the big difference between a team like Flash Wolves and at least Ardians so far. You see the Tracer Doomfist combo. When you watch DM and Ursa, they work in unison. I like to call it the big fist and the small fist. It's the 1-2 punch combo that they really execute quite well. And Flash Wolves, they're not really having that. Bacon Jack too far forward. Zonda, not enough impact in the back line. And at the moment, it is AHQ, Dizzy and Rapid working together much cleaner.
Yeah, long gun, short gun, big fist, small fist. One fist, two fists, red fist, blue fist, indeed. As Bacon Jack coming back in onto the side, AHQ have themselves the resources, and Sinclair already off the edge. The pulse bomb does go wide from Rapid, but they've already got a numbers advantage, and there aren't really many ults for Flash Wolves to use here. They just kind of want to draw out cooldowns if they can, but all they've really got is He's mech, and he may even just be able to get it back, or actually has the time to take a dive here, which I think will be the option.
It looks like a full team wipe as well. So AHQ getting further and further ahead here. It does look like a very similar story to what we saw into Gardens, which is AHQ getting a massive lead, but eventually Flash Wolves, they do bounce back. Zonda not feeling the Doomfist anymore.
Yeah.
And I have to agree with that. He hasn't had the impact that he was looking for. Certainly a far cry from what we saw into Ursa. Zonda on the Soldier, though, that's a known quantity. We already know he pulls his weight onto that hero.
Eric very disciplined to not panic use the ultimate there. He did get back into the mech as well, very close now to a self-destruct will be key for him. He needs to stay alive to keep the mech. Unfortunately loses it, but they're keeping the Flash Wolves pressured anyway. Bacon Jack also over the edge. Jongi trying to create some chaos, and he does bump He. That's what they need now. The pick onto Dizzy. Rapid a little low. Eric's opting to stall with the ultimate, but now it is Flash Wolves with a little bit more resources at their disposal. Zonda does go down, but Flash Wolves were on the point while Eric was busy dealing with Zonda. And now AHQ are the ones having to attack on to a slightly more ahead Flash Wolves.
Actually insane to think that AHQ have a very similar sort of pathway into this game as before. You just hope that AHQ don't take as long as they did onto Gardens to get back the control of the night market. 87% is what they have, and the fight does still continue. Rapid might get a kill, and if he does, that's a big win for AHQ.
Dizzy is the one who's going to go down, though, and Zonda able to stay alive against Rapid and finish off Dizzy is incredible positioning out of him. AHQ just losing too many members there. Had an early pick onto Bacon Jack, so Flash Wolves fighting with that numbers disadvantage there and absolutely pulling it off.
And Flash Wolves now in commanding lead, in fact, in the ultimate regard, and that's something economically at least. AHQ, we kind of joked in day one, AHQ land have a good economy. Well, it looks like Flash Wolves are keeping up as well. The trade routes definitely kept clear of any bandits or whatever.
The GDP.
Toll free is what it is. It's a free trading zone.
Yeah, free trade agreement between Flash Wolves and AHQ. In any case, AHQ back on the aggression now. Bacon Jack Pulse Bomb does get He, but it doesn't quite pop the mech. But there's a lot of low tanks here. They're going to have to really work overtime to heal them up as they indeed pop the Transcendence. Now, AHQ need to convert something off the back of that. And, oh, good pick onto Dizzy out of Flash Wolves. Trade back onto Bacon Jack is kind of what they need here as they pop K-Momo's mech, but Rapid is looking worse for wear. Zonda comes in to clean it up, and the Transcendence from Sinclair to keep them all alive during. Zonda does get low, but he pulls up a ton of work first and then tops himself off. This is absolutely disastrous for AHQ right now. They do get a couple off the backside, but they've had to waste so much time with, once again, where we were on Gardens, where the percentage is even as the cap is looking to go back the other way.
Yeah, and it certainly will. And this is going to be a much better position for AHQ because last time Flash Wolves pushed it into the overtime. This time for AHQ, they don't have to worry about that. They get the cap back a lot sooner, and now they have area control. That's a lot they can use. Bacon Jack's still respawning. Flash Wolves are running out of time.
Okay, Momo loses the mech right at the top. Sound barrier forced out, but it can't save that mech now as they just kind of have to go because of the overtime. Eric keeps it on lockdown, and Jongi down means no more tanks for Flash Wolves.
Huge explosion.
Oh, and insult to injury, picking off both the DPS. There is no way Flash Wolves get back onto the point, and AHQ stronger than the first map, which was an incredibly close one, but even so, Night Market's going similarly close. I think we're going to a game 5 between these two.
I would like to see it, but at the same time, you know, close series can also say maybe you get a best, maybe you get just a 3-0, but everything is extremely close. Now this I want to really highlight because he otherwise known as Lazy Titan from OPC Season 1, we knew him as the D.Va player that consistently got a lot of self-destruct kills. That hasn't changed now that we got into Season 2. Different name, same D.Va player.
Yeah, and I mean, if you were watching the D.Va play, yeah, you could have put that together, like you said. And, you know, it was right there at the end as well, the double kill onto the 2 DPS. And the fact that it was both the DPS as well, I mean, that was all the kind of last-ditch playmaking potential completely removed from the map. That is so incredible, such great timing out of him. That was really, really intense. But the thing that has happened is AHQ have drawn first blood. They have taken down, it is only in one game, but they have taken down the Season 1 champions in the first match that those champions have played here in Season 2. This is an exciting start to what is already a storied rivalry. Who knows where it goes next?
And the thing is, you know, you drew first blood against what is already a wounded animal coming back from 2 heavy losses on international competition. Flash Wolves, they might actually be in a bit of a slump right now. They might be underperforming. They might be in a sort of space where this isn't really where the old Flash Wolves was, and this could really hurt Flash Wolves' chances making it into the top 4, or rather getting a good spot among that top 4, because it is a shorter season, only 6 weeks, only 2 round robins. Flash Wolves, they want to bounce back. They got to bounce back now within this match.
It's kind of a thing, right? I mean, we talked about it before when we were talking about Ardiant. Because this is now going to be a top 4 going into finals, not top 3. You don't want to be that 4th place one. You know, for Ardiant, they want to displace one of the top 3. But for Flash Wolves, you don't want to be 4th place because that means, had it been last season, you wouldn't have been good enough.
Absolutely, I think that's definitely true as well. So Flash Wolves staring down the barrel of, you know, a very hard loss here. They certainly don't want to lose to AHQ. We talk about that rivalry. That rivalry extends beyond Overwatch, beyond just these 2 teams, the 2 organizations across different titles and different esports as well. So, I mean, 2 Taiwanese giants, this is definitely the way you look at it. The 2 top teams in Taiwan, not just in Overwatch, but in many, many different games.
In fact, actually, Flash Wolves have already qualified for Worlds in League of Legends. So that's, again, like just the kind of history.
Didn't qualify for Worlds in Overwatch, though, and that's a little bit of an unfortunate thing. A little bit of a, you know, it's kick them while they're down, maybe, and it does sadden me as well because I was rooting for the Flash Wolves, but Flash Wolves are going to have to look for the next opportunity. Let's get into the replay first. It will be Gardens in the opening stages, and it was a very slow start. You actually see Flash Wolves, they have the slightly worse positioning here. They do back off Dizzy a little bit more forward, and it was Dizzy that actually opened up the plays here. Look for his kill onto Bacon Jack. There it is. Should get one into Zonda straight away as well, and this is when the fight really starts to happen for AHQ, and for Flash Wolves, not a lot.
And I kind of want to pick on something here a little bit as well. Like, it has only been the 1 game so far, but I've seen a lot of Dizzy in the kill feed. I've seen a little bit of Rapid. I haven't seen much Bacon Jack. That, to me, has actually been a big surprise. It's game 1. It's their first game back in this season. This isn't the be-all, end-all of where Bacon Jack is going to be for the season, and indeed, even if he were playing fantastically tonight, there is still the possibility of going further from that again, but he hasn't actually come back looking the same as he did in Season 1. Maybe that's going to change as we move on to Hybrid next, but I want to see more Bacon Jack in that kill feed, and I know he can do it.
And I think Bacon Jack actually has populated it a little bit more than Zonda has so far, especially when Zonda started with the Doomfist. Now, that was a very, unfortunately, a little bit lackluster. Now, the one player I do want to talk about on the AHQ side, and maybe is a little bit of the reason why Bacon Jack was sort of pushed down a bit, was actually Karius, who got a lot of kills onto Bacon Jack specifically. Now, Karius on the Zenyatta, this man has been really targeting Bacon Jack. Now, he's been doing a great job across every single match for AHQ so far on that support role, on the flex support role, Zenyatta specifically. He's able to get the pickouts on every single other DPS, on every, mostly Traces, but it does sort of suppress Bacon Jack, and that is probably a reason why we're not seeing as much Bacon Jack as we're used to.
Exactly, and we're also not quite seeing those same sort of big shock turnarounds where, you know, it's down to the wire and Bacon Jack is still alive and then suddenly gets a 3K. In any case, now another replay coming up a little bit later on in that one. This is where it started to get really, really spicy. We did actually see a good bit of Bacon Jack in there.
That was the rapid double kill that turned it around.
Yeah. The thing I was going to say there is we're seeing more pulse bomb sticks out of Bacon Jack than we are out of Rapid, but we're seeing a lot more one clips out of Rapid. It's hard to say which is pulling more weight, but ultimately AHQ have been coming out the better. Now this is where it gets intense. This was the ongoing back and forth fight. First of all, capping in the overtime. Flash Wolves were very quick to reset. They didn't commit more resources than they needed here.
That's a curious kill.
Yeah, but they also understood they had to stay on the point to keep the overtime, but they had to do so carefully. And they really played this well. K-Momo pushed right to his limits, knew that Sinclair was coming in with the Transcendence, and were actually able to keep the fight alive for a very long time. At this point, they have the advantage. They have Zonda's tactical visor. They use it to start closing this out. Look at how many members of AHQ get low. And this was where they were able to drive them back, get the cap back over. AHQ then went ahead and did exactly the same thing in return, where they kind of held on. This time it was Eric instead of K-Momo, so the Winston instead of the Diva, but it bought them that extra time, and they understood how to use that time. We often see teams chuck in the tank onto the point to force overtime. Rarely do we see a team put the tank on there, support them adequately, and then turn it back around. Even more rare is seeing both teams do that one after the other.
And crucially, after Hiki came, well, rather not Hiki, but Erikin came in with the Primal Rage, kept the fight going for them. Then Dizzy respawned with his Tech Visor available, and that was AHQ sealing the deal against Flash Wolves to actually take it out. But it all did start with Rapid. The double kill onto both Zonda and Sinclair, and then slowly getting kills later on. They did lose. Erikin came and saved them. Dizzy cleaned up the game for them. Now the next map has been revealed. Hollywood, it won't be Kings Row. We're going to see something a little different.
And AHQ love their Hollywood. This is AHQ's pick. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a crappy Torbjorn. That's the player, by the way, not the quality of play.
Could be confused.
I realize that, if you're just tuning in, Crappy is a player on AHQ, and he is very good at Overwatch.
He's very good at Torbjorn, actually.
He is, and Hollywood is one of the maps where they pull it out. Also, they pull it out on Numbani, but I feel like much like Kings Row is often neutral ground, Numbani is also kind of neutral ground, or indeed contested ground between these two teams. Hollywood is a map that AHQ can just pick and go, we are the stronger team on this map, full stop. And it's actually on Flash Wolves now to prove that otherwise.
I would agree with that as well. I think Eichenwald, the final remaining map, that's definitely more on the Flash Wolves side of things. Flash Wolves were the team that picked Eichenwald a lot more, had more set strategies that they executed quite well onto Eichenwald. So Hollywood probably is one of the better maps to go for AHQ. I would probably still say Numbani was one of the better maps for AHQ as well. For a time, especially during the second round robin when they went undefeated, Numbani was one of the few, or rather one of the leading maps that led to that undefeated streak.
But again, after that, it was Flash Wolves starting to take that back. So that's why I say contested ground. And it is interesting how many maps are contested ground between these two teams. That is what we mean when we talk about the history and indeed the depth of this rivalry, not just in Overwatch, but even in esports as a whole. But center it now on Hollywood, where the next stage of this rivalry will... Rivalry? Is a secret. Anyway, but
we lost you for this second.
Yeah, but so, in any case,
back.
Flash Wolves want to even up the score. That was my point.
Yeah, and I think they're going to need to here. If they don't do it here, they will be staring down 0-3. And that will certainly be a bad way to start. Even when AHQ did beat Flash Wolves, they never beat them 3-0. They never had this kind of scoreline against Flash Wolves. Flash Wolves are not a type of team that ever get defeated this badly. you know, World Cup results aside. So, I mean, for Flash Wolves, this is their opportunity to sort of climb back in this, and I do believe going into hybrid, going into escorts, assaults and stuff like that. Assault is, by the way, their best game mode, but it is also still AHQ's best game mode. So now we're going to see both teams step it up again.
So, by the way, no Torbjorn, yes Sombra, and the Doomfist back out the gate on Zonda. Oh, that rhymes.
You're
Dr.
those
Seuss up in here.
What was the earlier one that you did that I was quite impressed with?
I mean, really, like, I just rhymed wow with something that rhymes with wow.
Whatever
That was
rhymes
a
with that.
poor explanation. But it wasn't a particularly impressive rhyme. In any case, opening fight now as Kerry is the first pick down. And now Zondra's starting to show us a little bit more of what he can do.
Oh, no.
I say as he dies. But he pulled his weight before that, and lacking in Eric and the healer, Dizzy is well pressured out. As close as he may be to that EMP, it's looking like Flash Wolves are set up well for this one. Bacon Jack having a much better time of things as they pressure Hee off the point as well. The first third already ticked up, and now it's actually on AHQ to find a way to get back onto it and push Flash Wolves off. It is not going to be easy. They're already very much lacking in tanks.
Yeah, absolutely. If Bacon Jack hits a pulse bomb here as well, could really spell the doom. Here's at least gets his revenge onto Zonda, but Rapid falling. Rapid is one of the players that really kept it alive for AHQ in the past. And in fact, the hack was good, but they couldn't secure the kill. So now that's another problem that AHQ got to deal with.
Yeah, and they put a lot of resources into that. They put the hack down, and they went big on the dive as well. Look, Bacon Jack finally dies, sure, but... And by the way, it's to carries, but Flash Wolves are over this point anyway. They've got it, and now Hee is going to lose his life for it. They're going to lose any opportunity to take a very early defense after this gate, and that's really unfortunate for AHQ.
And look at all the ultimates now available for Flash Wolves, so this is a great start for them. They didn't have to spend much to even get that cap. In fact, I don't know if they spent any ultimates whatsoever. Certainly doesn't look like it because they're about to hit the 6 AHQ now. Not even really close. Some of the members, I guess, Kerry is about to hit the Transcendence. He's got to get extreme value out of this, or Flash Wolves get a lot of distance on the card.
Yeah, I mean, almost no Transcendence can be that good, but hey, stranger things have happened.
Oh, Kerry's already down.
He's already dead, so yeah, there will be no such Transcendence. Meteor Strike to come out from Zonda. Let's see what he can pick up with that. He uses it to zone, and now he's looking to take down the separated tanks of AHQ, and indeed they are able to do just that. They've at least separated them a long way away from the payload, and this is all just good distance for Flash Wolves and a very low economy fight.
Jongi actually ruined the Meteor Strike for Zonda. He had a shot onto Dizzy, and Jongi knocked him away in the Primal Rage, but it is AHQ now putting up some resistance. Losing Rapid early again is not a very good thing for them. Bacon Shake won't hit anything with the Pulse Bomb either, so maybe a little bit of room to play with for AHQ as their ultimates do come up and as Flash Wolves lose their ultimates.
Yeah, absolutely is, as Eric is trying to keep Zonda as busy as possible. Needs to be careful not to lose his life. I mean, he does have that extra health from the Primal Rage, but Orb of Discord can really put a spanner in that works. The payload has stopped though, and that is really what AHQ are after here, and they have drawn a lot of resources out of Flash Wolves. Good pick onto Zonda. He only trades back with the mech, so this is kind of a bit of a stabilization now for AHQ, especially with that Pulse Bomb securing Synclet.
We're about to head up onto the tank visor from Dizzy as well, and that's going to do a lot of work for this team, especially Flash Wolves. Going to probably force the Realment to use his sound barrier as well. Great positioning now, Dizzy, onto the high ground. Not going to get too challenged here. Even going to have K-Momo backing out of that fight with Flash Wolves. Going to be in for a full retreat, and this is a big turnaround. Flash Wolves came in, remember, with 6 ultimates, or nearly 6 ultimates. AHQ were very much down. They had Kerry's as Transcendence, and Kerry's died. After that, AHQ still managed to hold on.
Yeah, what they didn't have was resources, and what they did have was space. So they just kind of made Flash Wolves expend ultimates to cross that distance. They actually played that very cleverly, but already early pick onto Crappy, and Rapid going down as well means the trade back on the Realman isn't going to do a whole lot. And Dizzy, he can't really shoot at Zonda when Zonda's up in the air and loses his life as well for good measure. Zonda just securing these few in the kill feed here, along with Bacon Jack. Something about left fist, right fist, and that's going to be a cap for Flash Wolves.
It is a cap for Flash Wolves, but you do expect it to happen a little bit quicker, and Bacon Jack's in a lot of trouble here as well. He does actually manage to get a kill, so one of the first times actually Bacon Jack getting the kill into Kerry's and not the other way around.
And Crappy as well for good measure. Beats back both the supports. Now Flash Wolves have a ton of space to play with as they move into the final stretch.
Zonda playing bodyguard for the cart as well. So for Flash Wolves, I think they probably squandered a lot more time than expected in the streets. And so they do only have, 3 minutes and 20 now remaining for this C cap, the C section of the Hollywood stage. So for AHQ, this is when you really got to get that defense going now. And Kerry's about to hit the second Transcendence now.
Pulse Bomb out from Bacon Jack. I think got eaten actually just quick movement by Hehe to gobble that one up. But has to commit the self-destruct to keep himself alive, but gets 2 kills with it in classic Lazy Titan fashion. And that's going to be Flash Wolves just kind of having to take a retreat off that. Running down Bacon Jack as well is Rapid, just insult to injury. And again, this is kind of that finding your feet moment for AHQ.
I think for Flash Wolves as well, because Zonda's had a sort of so-so kind of performance with this Doomfist so far. You can see the tiny mechanical areas. He kind of oversteps and misses the seismic slam onto carries in one of the occasions, uses the meteor strike not to, often not to save himself, but kind of doesn't always manage to hit with that either. So seeing Flash Wolves now, what can they do with these 4 ultimates? Because the last time they had a big ultimate advantage, couldn't quite hit the mark.
All right, well, opening it out with the self-destruct to create some space. Rapid in trouble, was saved by the sound barrier, but he needs to get that health pull back up so he can do work. Eric has already popped this ultimate. That is one of the few resources they have, but they made it pay off as they kill Zonda and Sinclair. It's another ultimate out of the picture. They do lose Eric, but Jongi is already altered as well, and suddenly AHQ are the ones with deeper pockets, even as Jongi picks up a kill onto Rapid. Dizzy keeps himself alive for now, still has that tactical visor that he is trying so hard to not commit if he can so help it, but he may just have to if they want to secure this one properly.
And he is definitely sitting quite far back as well. Zonda changing onto the soldier as well now, so he's going to start into 0%, already gone to 25-ish, but now
visor.
comes Dizzy. Straight into Transcendence though.
Oh, and now straight into a Diva, so he's really got no good targets to shoot at, and his front line is just kind of getting shredded before his eyes, unfortunately. Maybe holding that for a little bit too long, or perhaps not long enough as he himself gets run down. The space is all there down for Flash Wolves to close it out. Just under 5 meters remaining. Bacon Jack and Zonda, the dream team, to the extreme, doing the work, filling up that kill feed, and it is going to be the last few members of AHQ trying to gun it to the point with this Transcendence. It will keep the tank alive, but Flash Wolves are similarly lively as the payload is so close. Zonda tactical visor just to make it look good. And even as he goes down to the pulse bomb, Flash Wolves push it through with plenty of time on the clock.
And you can actually tell that AHQ had a couple options right at the end, that you had, you know, a situation where Eric was alive, he was able to stall out the count for some time, jumps back to save his own life, drops a bubble, you have carries with the Transcendence. You just needed to put all the pieces together. You want the Transcendence to be keeping the whole team alive and not just used to stall the cut. In that kind of situation, if Jongi was, sorry, well not rather not Jongi, but if Eric was there, Dizzy there as well, that's when you start to get kills, give Rapid the space to move as well with the quick heals on the Transcendence. That was probably the only time, the last time that AHQ had to turn around. After that, carries, Transcendence gone, he's the first target that gets picked out.
It was interesting. It's like as soon as I mentioned that I felt Bacon Jack wasn't quite hitting the mark, he totally proved me wrong. He's like, oh, I'll show you. Like, he heard me all the way from Taipei. So he was absolutely on fire in that
I had
match.
no doubt. I had no doubt that Bacon Jack was still going to be Bacon Jack. I mean, the guy is...
You had faith.
The guy has got a title to defend. In fact, all of Flash Wolves have a title to defend. And really, they had a pretty good run-through in the first section of this map, in the first cap. Second cap, that big blunder with the huge ultimate advantage that they sort of walked in with, that was probably the biggest mistake that Flash Wolves had this entire attack phase. But really after that, that's when Flash Wolves kind of got within themselves. AHQ had some, I would say, token defenses, token resistance throughout the defense, especially on the third cap. I mean, there's some good moments there. He's still managing to get a lot of kills with the self-destruct, but at the end of the day, Flash Wolves just pushing on through. Swapping Zonda off the Doomfist eventually onto the Soldier probably helped as well.
Yeah, the other thing that has to be considered here is, look, that was a great attack by Flash Wolves on AHQ's map pick for what is meant to be a very favored map. AHQ have to pull off something pretty incredible here to prove that this is still their town.
And this is something we've seen a lot in the World Cup actually, is Zonda on the Sombra, on this Hollywood defense. This is something that they found, I would say, some success, but you really want to see Zonda on a strong picks, and unfortunately, Sombra just hasn't been one of them.
Yeah, you're quite right there, and it's nothing to do with Sombra and it's nothing to do with Zonda. He just doesn't quite seem to mesh with it, but as we say that, taking out Rapid is a good way to kind of prove us wrong as the fight breaks out in earnest with AHQ at a numbers disadvantage. Dizzy is trying to do as much work as he can on this Reaper, and they are keeping themselves in the fight, but they're not really winning it either. They're just kind of wasting their own time.
They need to regroup with Rapid, who should be back into the fight by now, and now AHQ need to look for an option to really engage, because so far they're stuck behind enemy lines. The health pack is hacked, so they can't even really take advantage of that, at least not for the time being. And you're right about the time as well. 1 minute gone, they need to make something happen.
Yeah, well, the something is this. Eric diving in deep, but they need to actually get a pick for it. Zonda low, as is Bacon Jack. Transcendence out from Sinclair. He's desperately searching for Bacon Jack, actually, who has slipped away and stayed alive. So Flash Wolves have been able to reset themselves as the EMP comes out. Does not catch many members. Oh, that's a huge boop onto the Death Blossom, and he finds absolutely no one as Bacon Jack finds Rapid. Pulse Bomb does go out, doesn't find much. Kerry's keeping his team in it, and they have to just keep up the aggression. Otherwise, they've wasted too many of their own resources, catching a lot of members of Flash Wolves in this isolated room here. But Eric can't close any of them out, and suddenly Flash Wolves collapse back in. AHQ are forced to be routed. This is as unfortunate as it gets.
The Flash Wolves had a really good defense. The AHQ tried to get in. They have the high ground. They're really, just as we were saying, look, they weren't really doing much at the sort of 3 minute mark. That's when they actually dived in, picked up Sinclair quite quickly, tried to convert into Bacon Jack, but unfortunately, the tanks were staying alive. The rest of the members were dying. Zonda was killing them, so was Bacon Jack, and now Dizzy is going to come back in with the pair.
Zonda also very disciplined at keeping that backside health pack hacked so that the AHQ Esports Club team cannot take advantage of it. Now looking to get harassed onto the backside. Good spot to get the boop out, just means he has to take the recall.
And Kerry's going down to Bacon Jack.
Wow.
So Bacon Jack, this is when you know Bacon Jack's starting to heat up. The primary person that was killing him from before is now dying to him.
Yeah, it's like he's got like a hit list, and there's like #1 on it. Like, first, I kill Keres. All right, Dizzy out of the picture already as well. AHQ is still actually waiting on Keres to get back with the team, and Zonda getting even more. I mean, it's like Bacon Jack hearing us about like not quite being on form, and then Zonda heard us talking about Sombra. It's actually like Flash Wolves are just wanting to prove people wrong today.
Well, this is now the sort of area where Flash Wolves are very much set up. Dizzy now changing on to his third hero of this attack, and you're really only in that position when you're starting to run out of options. You're thinking, okay, this isn't working. My next pick also isn't working. I'm onto my third pick now. You're also resetting ultimates every time you're doing this. Meanwhile, look at Flash Wolves, a lot of ultimates. In fact, EMP coming down, 2 very quick kills.
Yeah, it's a really great way to start. And Bacon Jack is still holding on to the Pulse Bomb, which means as AHQ make their sort of mad dash to the point at the end here, Bacon Jack can just stick that one onto one of the supports and completely hamstring AHQ for the final fight.
Final fight is going to come sooner rather than later, because for AHQ, 30 seconds and counting, not a lot of ultimates to play with. Kerry's about to hit his Transcendence, and Dizzy on his third swap, nowhere near that Deadeye, but he does kill Zonda. This is definitely something they were looking for with that flashback.
That is a big headshot. Bacon Jack now has to pull a ton of weight, but the Pulse Bomb won't do it. And now Flash Wolves are actually being pushed back. AHQ are on the point. Flash Wolves have to find their opportunity to go back in. They have the defensive ultimate, so they push the go button with the sound barrier. Force Transcendence out from Keres now, but they need to convert kills. Clutch indeed. Dizzy nearly has this Deadeye, which could secure the fight for them. They've been able to retreat, but Keres is down. They've got no more resources as Dizzy gets picked, and Jongi goes deep. Eric trades one back, but it might not be enough here. They need to get a lot more from that. The self-destruct, this is the time to do it, This is the time to get your 3K. Jongi gets another. Zonda's back into the fray now, and they're just closing them out. I'll tell you what, a minute left on their own push, and a first hold is a great way for Flash Wolves to even up the score.
Absolutely bouncing back, and this is the Flash Wolves we remember. This is the Flash Wolves that actually look like Season 1 champions. Everything working well for them. Zonda's getting the kills, he's getting the hacks, he's getting the EMPs, charging it up quickly as well. Bacon Jack everywhere. He's landing his shots, and nothing AHQ can do to break through that. Dizzy's trying everything. He even kills Zonda later on with a beautifully placed headshot. I said clutch in the middle of that because there was a headshot, flashbang headshot rather, onto Sinclair that if he had dived, would have prevented the Transcendence, and they might have turned it around for AHQ, but unfortunately, not clutch enough.
Yeah, absolutely, and an unsurprising play of the game. This was quite early on when AHQ actually looked like they had a good kind of opportunity to go deep onto Flash Wolves. They had them all kind of kettled in that one room, but Flash Wolves just kind of flipped it around on them. They all scattered out. They had their most mobile heroes around, and then they just went back in, and suddenly AHQ were the ones stuck in the room while, you know, they're being peppered from the side by Bacon Jack, K-Momo, and Jongi. I nearly called him Erican. That's the other Winston.
I got it the other way around, so I'm calling Jongi instead of Erican. You're doing the opposite. So together we're correct though.
Yeah, on average, we're correct.
Yeah, in the median.
With our powers combined, we are one correct shoutcaster.
Yep. Just not even two shoutcasters, just one shoutcaster. Oh boy, so I was only half a shoutcaster yesterday.
Yeah.
I don't even know. But the point being is, this is now Flash Wolves bouncing back, and the thing I really noticed about this is the Sombra Zonda thing. That is something they practiced a lot more, and it's something they showed a lot in Santa Monica.
Yeah.
Now when we're back into Taipei, we are seeing Zonda play Doomfist, at least professionally, for the first time. Now let's actually take a look at the replay rather, of that push on through from, I believe it's Flash Wolves now going into phase 3. Right, the sort of final moments. This was a big kill, I believe. Was it a double kill? No. Okay, that one was a reset. I believe he actually lost his mech, and he just wanted to reset it. So actually, he in positions when he can't proactively use the self-destruct, and he has to just use it to just get his own mech back. That's when you, of course, don't see him get those huge kills.
And there was this really interesting thing that happened as well. Look, Rapid was a little bit too deep at the wrong sort of time. Flash Wolves took advantage of that and collapsed on him. Then what happened is Zonda, like I said, Dizzy rather, he held his tactical visor either too long or not long enough, right? Had he committed it a little bit earlier, as Flash Wolves were trying to make the move onto He after he got back in the mech, which was eventually what killed him, they probably could have equalized it a little bit and at least forced Flash Wolves to retreat, given themselves some breathing space for Rapid to come back in. Or he could have held it longer, had it more around here when they had Eric diving for the payload with Keres and the Transcendence running, and then they probably could have done the exact same thing. But the time he pulled it out at, there was like 3 people alive, he was getting dove on, and there just weren't many good targets, many good lines of sight for him to use, and it was just like a really rare, honest mistake out of the guy.
And the other thing for AHQ as well is you actually see towards the end there, the order in which they respawn, and it has a lot to do with the order that they actually died in. And I talked about this at the moment when it did happen, but Keres with the Transcendence, it was a very, I guess, well-timed Transcendence to stall, but that's the problem. You're using it to stall, and you're not in a position where you can keep everyone alive to actually get kills. Next replay now, this is going to be the attack on the other side on the first cap, and a lot of roadblocks here.
Yeah, and I believe this may be the one I was talking about just a moment ago where we sort of had the, in fact it is. So you'll see here, AHQ kind of get beaten back. EMP goes out, they're able to keep the sound barrier in play here, yeah. But the boop pushing back the Death Blossom was a huge resource expended. And then Flash Wolves kind of bait AHQ forward, knowing that they are very low on resources. They have to use the Transcendence to get themselves into position, which means they feel pressure to capitalize. Now look at where the members of Flash Wolves are. They've lured AHQ into this room, and suddenly Flash Wolves collapse in on them with their whole team. It was just this absolute masterstroke of positioning. It was like they were beating the drum and AHQ were dancing.
And the other thing to sort of add to that is you actually see a pretty good engage coming up from Erikin and Cove. They managed to get synced on the back line, but all the tanks of AHQ are so far forward inside the cafe room. No real opportunity to sort of come back and help the rest of the team. Keres got picked on the backside, so you immediately trade your Zenyatas. And like you said, Flash Wolves got the surround, they got the pincer maneuver, and suddenly AHQ were cut off and they were just stuck inside the cafe, and eventually they died.
So clever. And it was just all those little bits leading up to it, you know? The Death Blossom having no effect, the Transcendence having to be used to get into position rather than keep the team alive during the fight. All these little things that amount to Flash Wolves evening up the score, and we are going to have an intense series on our hands.
Yeah, maybe we won't get to that map 5. We are, of course, going to guarantee at least a map 4, but map 3 will be coming up very shortly. We're going to find out what that is. It will be on Assault, and then it happens all after this break. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to OPC. Once more, we are, of course, in the final match of the evening. Flash Wolves and AHQ. Map number 3 coming up, and we got a series on our hands because the score is 1-1.
Yeah, and it is a very well-earned 1-1. Look, AHQ did just barely come out the better of the two in the first one. It was hard-fought, it was well-won. Hollywood was a little bit more the way of Flash Wolves, but it was a much-needed kind of blow in response, you know? It's what's the, I don't know, matching blow for blow, I guess?
Yeah, I'd say so. I think they're definitely matching blow for blow here, and even when they're losing...
It's even a little bit harder, actually.
Even when, you know, if a team is losing, they're not losing too hard. Or maybe you could contest it because AHQ did have a few blunders really moving into what I could probably say is a brick wall of Flash Wolves' defense on that cafe of Hollywood, but now going into Assault. Look, both teams are good at Assault. Flash Wolves had one of the best records on Assault in Season 1, and AHQ, Assault is easily their best and most favored game mode as well, having a pretty good run through of this game mode in terms of win streak as well, or rather win rate as well. So I think if we thought Control was going to be very close, I think Assault might just give that Control map even a run for its money.
The thing at play here, though, is, of course, Flash Wolves do get the pick, and the pick is going to be Horizon Lunar Colony. I think this is a fascinating but very intelligent pick, because this is the closest thing you get to neutral territory between these two teams right now. There is so much history between the two on all the other Assault maps. And indeed, not even just between the two, but against all the other teams from Season 1. They have a ton of practice on a wide variety of maps. They are good on all of them. This, like I said, neutral territory.
So the thing about Horizon Lunar Colony here is one of the reasons why I can see Flash Wolves maybe wanting to take this is they may know that AHQ currently do not have a Doomfist player, or rather, if they have a Doomfist player, they haven't shown that. The last time we saw AHQ play Horizon, they didn't bring that out. They had Dizzy on the Reaper, they kept Rapid on the Tracer. I don't mind that sort of combo there. I don't mind them playing that. I think it's effective, although Zonda might have something else to say about that. Zonda doesn't have the flashiest Doomfist so far. He has made some mistakes, so it's not perfect. Certainly not up to the level of Erster, or maybe even Hotate, but it is something that Flash Wolves have in their back pocket, and they are prepared for this.
Yeah, that they absolutely are. And you're right. I mean, AHQ kind of... Look, it's not an absolute requirement. You don't have to play Doomfist on Horizon Lunar Colony. That's not quite how it works. But
you actually physically can't load into the game
until someone picks Doomfist out. But the thing is, right, if they can do it, now is the right kind of time to pull it out, because if they don't pull it out because they don't have a Doomfist player, that actually hurts them more than not pulling it out because they choose not to.
Yeah, I would probably have to agree. You don't have to run a Doomfist here, and I think what AHQ have been doing so far, even without the Doomfist, has been pretty good. I'm certain it was versus Marchi that they actually won this, and they did play against Nuns' Doomfist, which has been pretty good as well. But Doomfist talk aside, this is also a map that Flash Wolves themselves have said that they've spent a long time practicing. Volskaya was probably one of their better Assault maps. I think Hanamura is probably their best one, but they've spent a long time now on Horizon really getting it up to speed.
I love it when you talk Doomfist to me.
Is that what I said? I didn't.
Well, just Doomfist talk aside.
Right.
But here we have it. It looks like Erican is going to be the one hovering the Doomfist. Nope, that bamboozled. Never mind.
Carrier's actually brought it up for like 5 seconds as they were about to win a map. And I gotta say, yeah, this is something we have seen. Actually, Dizzy on the Widowmaker was something that we did see in the series that they had against Machi. So certainly AHQ, this is comfortable.
Yeah, and I do like this against what Flash Wolves are pulling out here. You know, there aren't any Reinhardt shields you got to maneuver behind, you know, and get the angles on or anything. It's just honest, you know, line up the shot, take it, and hey presto, you're away. Bacon Jack already getting pressured here. Dizzy is a little bit zoned out by Zonda, but it just means Zonda's a long way away from his team, and he pays for that with his life. I mean, really just drawn way too deep by Dizzy, and now the gate is kind of open for AHQ to flood into this one. Wrap it a little bit low, but they can just keep playing this semi-patient game, take a bit of ground, move further up, find another pick, take a bit more ground, and now they're looking to really drive Flash Wolves away from this one.
Yeah, and eventually Dizzy does get a shot here. He doesn't hit every single shot, but when he does hit it, that's what's really important. Dizzy does get pressured out by Jongi, but he's wasting Jongi's time. You have to consider here. Dizzy just picked up a health pack. Jongi's missed a jump. Jongi might die!
Dead. I don't believe it. Jongi just way too deep, and of course, while that's happening, it means he's actually not on the point tanking for DPS members like Bacon Jack who died. And that means AHQ are going to get the first point cap. Honestly, Flash Wolves just got a bit of Dizzy fever. 2 members tunneling on Dizzy, 2 members honestly costing their team the fight for it.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, is Jongi spent way too long tunneling there, and Dizzy, look, we said it already, he doesn't always manage to get the kills quite early, maybe not even the timing correctly, but he does get them. He picks one of the Jongi, he gets a headshot on just Sinclair as well, and that's all he really needs. Now gonna get the Empress, like, this is the kind of AHQ kind of momentum snowball play that we're used to seeing them do.
Yeah, Zonda in a lot of trouble here, just get the health pack and dashes away. Dizzy, you're right, we'll get the Empress side, but sticking on this Widow right now isn't ideal. If they can get a couple of picks and get a third, they might as well, but I wouldn't be surprised to see him swap off after this fight, win or lose. But Jongi getting pressured out is good news for them here. No one going down, so AHQ are just going to back up a little bit for a while.
And AHQ, Dizzy actually committed that Empress site as well, and I do remember Dizzy I'm pretty sure he changes off the Widow here after some time. The Widow angles are a little bit tricky. You might be able to find something, but you can't wait too long. AHQ got time to work with, but you don't want to squander the time either. That is a pick they can use.
That's a big pick. Rapid just one-clipping Bacon Jack there, and Zonda going down as well. They do lose Rapid, but that's not too big a deal when they got those DPS off the table and a chunk of the ultimates with it. They need to close out just a few more. Eric is going to pull back to the rest of his team. They need to get a few more kills than that in one go if they really want to get this. Yeah, he absolutely does, and it may just be time to change off.
And that's the thing is, they've really committed to this push. He does demake somebody, forces, forces Synchro to sort of hide back, but eventually AHQ get overpowered, and Dizzy sort of in a tough spot now. I would expect a hero swap.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you there. And Bacon Jack, I mean, look, this is just a factor of that second point. I mean, we already know about Defender's advantage, but it was Bacon Jack and Zonda who were first to die. Their reappearance into the fight, I mean, what did you expect to happen, right? They both had ults, and Zonda didn't even have to use it.
So AHQ now coming back in. Mind you, a minute. In fact, more than a minute now already gone for this team. So you want to cap on through. You certainly don't want to cap on into overtime. You have to consider that Flash Wolves will finish this map as well. So there will be time back. You got to figure that out.
That's what Dizzy needed, and having the other pick on Bacon Jack as well is good news for them. Joggy was forced to ult, but now this is where Dizzy starts to struggle a little bit because he can't just push out as much DPS as most other heroes. But the sound barrier to keep them alive as they pop K-Momo's mech. Bacon Jack and Zonda will come back into the fray here, but they are looking worse for wear. Realman down and out for the count. They have themselves their first third. Zonda is going to go now. They're looking to get onto Dizzy, and it may just work. It indeed does. Him and Jongi both able to sort that one out. He's still on the point, though, means they get a second third, and at some point, Flash Wolves have to come back and address this. They do. They close out on Rapid. They get the kills out, but AHQ have actually set themselves up in a very nice spot here. They only really need one more fight to win.
Absolutely. So that fight definitely worked out quite well for AHQ. Rapid now changing onto the Reaper as well. Dizzy still wanting to stay onto the Widowmaker, at least for the time being. He's finding a kill here and there, maybe, but the real big factor is he's not actually preventing any, I would say, he's not really having any area control. He doesn't have a body on the point, and missing the body on the point, I think, does cost AHQ somewhat. So he's got to make up for that by getting a lot more kills than he currently is getting. The other thing that he is doing, at least as a silver lining, is still wasting a lot of Jongi's time.
Yeah, that is actually significant. He's not a body on the point, but he is keeping a body off the point. Post bomb out, now they're going to go ahead and nano boost Jongi to try and get closeouts on that. All they really get out of it, though, is his mech. That's actually a lot of resources for a little, but that does waste a lot of AHQ's time.
That's a good thing as well. He could have probably kept him staggered there. It's actually really difficult to reset your mech. He probably doesn't want to lose his ult charge by going back to spawn. There's nowhere to suicide unless you want to run back all the way to attack his spawn on A, which is far too far away. So for AHQ, now we're looking at 250. Yes, they have 2/3, but it's time to get that last third and win this match.
Is he able to pop the Infra Sight? And there it goes. They get a good scope out of Flash Wolves. They don't really have many resources available, though. Not many ultimates they can dig deep on. Really, it's just going to be the Transcendence.
One big headshot here could open things up.
Yeah, and that is the threat, though, of Widowmaker at all times. That is a good start. Popping K-Momo. They need to get a little bit more than just that, but already this is the right kind of pick, it seems. This Reaper here who does know how the Death Blossom to help close it out. If they can pop Jongi, that they do. Now he's going to be looking for the healers and the squishies. Pulse Bomb out from Bacon Jack, though, to equalize it just that little bit. They need to close out Zonda before he gets his Dragon Blade as well, or he could bust the fight wide open. And they haven't got the convincing win they need to get this remaining third. Bacon Jack going deep to find Dizzy, and they got the members on the point. But the Death Blossom, it's not going to do enough work, even as it catches two, because the self-destruct will catch Rapid. And now the remaining members of AHQ are just being beaten back one by one as Flash Wolves continue getting the respawns and continue keeping the pressure on.
Yeah, well, there's the big change up now. Rapid goes off of the Reaper. Probably good timing for that because it allows Dizzy now to pick up that Reaper. Rapid going back onto something we're a little bit more familiar with. The actually got to be the Tracer play. And with only 1 minute and 30 left remaining, I think AHQ have really pushed this as far as they can in terms of time spent because we started with so much more. We started with over 5 minutes. They're now only barely going to cap this with a little bit of time left. Certainly if they cap with overtime, it'll be a bit of a disaster, but at least they cap.
They have lost a lot of time because of the Widowmaker, you're right. And the other thing that's losing them time right now is, again, he just has to wait for that last bit of mech. Had to go from about 50% up to where he is now. Couldn't afford to go in and die and give away ult charge. But now with the mech, now with the self-destruct, AHQ gearing up for another push.
Yep, with only 1 minute left to go now, so I'm thinking this is probably going to be the last push. And again, pushing it and finishing it in overtime would definitely be something they don't want to have to do, and they might
Good
not have a
target
choice.
selection. That is a good forced sound barrier, and Jongi may just pay for it with his life, but they have the defender's advantage. They do not mind, and Jongi even slips out, gets away with murder. Zonda does go down, but they pulled an ultimate out of Eric. This is going very sour for AHQ. They did have to expend a lot on the dive there, Flash Wolves, but it completely pays off.
And Zonda's now going to go into the Pharaoh as well. So for Flash Wolves, they've realized, look, the final attack here, we're just going to try and counter AHQ as best we can. Now finally some of the ultimates do come online for AHQ. So in the final moments, kind of the nightmare scenario was you do have to make this push into overtime. Yes, you have 1/3, but so far they haven't managed to get that last third.
And they had 6 minutes as well after capping the first point. But now here we go. So getting onto the point, came over as the first target, and picking up Zonda was actually a very good way to start. Self-destruct to come out. Does get crappy, but that is all for now. Keres does not commit the Transcendence early enough to save Eric, and that could be what cost them here. The Death Blossom, out from Dizzy to secure Jongi. He still has a self-destruct. Zonda gets one, and Bacon Jack another, and it may just be that that's all it takes to keep them in this one because of those respawns. Good catch onto Bacon Jack, but Flash Wolves can just keep flooding the point, and AHQ have a much longer walk. Zonda still staying in the skies now as the last remnants of AHQ on the point will get swept up and taken down. 85.5 is the percentage marker to beat for Flash Wolves.
Ladies and gentlemen, we will not be going into time bank now. So AHQ got their work cut out for them. They have to have a very good hold on to A. Perhaps, a first hold, perhaps feedback some of that medicine that Flash Wolves gave to you on Hollywood and really show them what it's like to be first held. And I know AHQ have the capability to do that, but certainly it will be a bit of an ask.
And that's really what they need if they want to push this series. I mean, they don't just want to push it to a Game 5. They want to push it to a Game 4 and win it there. But they need to get further ahead, or at the very least not be in the situation where they have to force it to a Game 5 because they lose this one. It was a little unfortunate for them. 6 whole minutes to cap that second point. 2/3 of it capped up, and they just weren't able to get it over the line. I'm not going to go too deep into the reasons why, because what really counts now, like you said, is how they defend.
And that's going to be absolutely crucial. I know they had a pretty good defense against Machi Esports, but that was Machi Esports that was then. Now is Flash Wolves. It's a different caliber of team, unfortunately, for AHQ to deal with. You don't want to be the AHQ team that has a great start on Lijiang, taking the first map out. Unfortunately, you drop a map onto Hollywood. That's not too unexpected. Flash Wolves are no pushovers. Of course, they're going to challenge you for every inch. But now onto Lunar Colony, you don't want to be 2-1 down either to then potentially lose 3-1 after what was such a great start.
You're completely right. That would almost be the worst possible way for this to go, given all the weight that comes into this rivalry. Look, neither of these teams wants to lose, but there's a good way to lose and there's a bad way to lose. And the bad way is you look good once and then don't look good again.
Or rather, you peak too early and then suddenly you don't have...
Like a gym teacher.
Is that what happens?
Yeah. They peak in high school.
Then they never leave high school, apparently.
That's the way. That's why
they peak in high school and then they stay in high school.
That's why they have to go back. And like,
it's like you
they weren't even good enough as a teacher to teach something like history or English.
You finish high school and they say, congratulations, now you can stay here and be a teacher. Anyway.
Yeah. And their job is just like, all right, kids, run.
All right, well, so we did tease about the Doomfist coming out. Zonda already down to half health though, so, this is now Flash Wolves potentially showing Zonda's capability and knowledge of this map, or it could be AHQ completely exploiting the fact that this is still too untested for Flash Wolves.
And that could be the case, but AHQ have kind of abandoned this position in the first instance. A third given up already, and they have to get aggressive now if they don't want this team comp to start running over them. Eric going down, unfortunately, as they tried to go a bit too deep on K-Momo, was not the right target. And Flash Wolves just kind of walked themselves onto the point. AHQ misread the positioning, did not attack safely, and they completely fall to bits.
And that's just going to be a very quick cap out now for Flash Wolves. Momentum carried through as well. They're going to have even more time than AHQ had attacking the second. Cap 7 minutes and what was about 2 seconds as well. 2 seconds doesn't matter, but that big 7 does matter going to this next cap.
Yeah, wow, that is a solid minute's difference. And when AHQ already had 6 minutes, which is a huge amount of time, it is incredible that Flash Wolves had this much time at their disposal. They now had the opportunity to try and get a snowball.
They got to have the first ults as well. Zonda's got to be careful here. Going down early would certainly spell doom for this portion. You don't want to... Spell doom for this fist.
Yeah, spell doom for the fist. Dizzy, run out on the wrong side of this fight. Jongi doesn't want to go too deep on that, and I think smartly so. Wants to keep the fight on the point. Zonda looking for something. Ooh, has to use the ultimate to stay alive. Yeah, well timed indeed. And is going to have to go full retreat here, back to a health pack. Oh, Dizzy! He totally read it, and that is very important for AHQ.
He's like, I took that health pack already.
Yeah, that is going to help them stabilize and equalize here a little bit, even as Eric gets picked, because honestly, Zonda having to take the long walk and the respawn advantage for AHQ should mean they're able to keep this one alive. They can also use resources here if they so choose, because Flash Wolves don't exactly have a whole lot themselves.
They're using it. Flash Wolves are doing this. They're trying to really push this one forward. They don't even have a third yet. AHQ have a little bit more on the back burner, and for Flash Wolves, already losing members.
I would call this brazen, and there we go in true fashion. He, formerly known as Lazy Titan, picks up a double with the self-destruct. They do indeed commit the ultimates. They're happy to do so, as all Flash Wolves have themselves is their own self-destruct.
And I do like the discipline here from Flash Wolves, something I do wish AHQ took into account as well in their own attack. Zonda realized that Doomfist not really working for them, not pulling the weight of the team as expected, so Zonda goes back onto something a little bit more traditional, something more tested, something more practiced for the team, and that is the Soldier and Dizzy. On the other side, the Soldier as well. The duel continues.
All right, Bacon Jack looking to get a solid pulse bomb here. Could crack this fight wide open. Could single-handedly help secure them a third, and they can just play for thirds. They actually still have 5 minutes remaining here. Plenty of time to charge up ultimates, plenty of time to go for fight after fight.
And 5 minutes does go by quicker than you can imagine. Just ask AHQ, they'll tell you all about it. So for Flash Wolves, 5 minutes, but I wouldn't squander it. You've got to make something happen now. Work for thirds, get that first third now.
Yeah, and you can see Bacon Jack, he's not really wanting to quite flank around the side specifically. He is just looking for targets for the pulse bomb, but Zonda opening it up. Jongi does get traded in, and K-Momo is forced to use the self-destruct there. We'll be able to remake and created some space, but they're now very lean on resources. Rapid pulling one back with the self-destruct, with the pulse bomb. May go down, but that is fine. Zonda, he's only one man. He's going to commit the tactical visor as well. I'm just miscalling every ultimate name, but in any case, I don't know what he's planning to get out of that. Most of his team is dead or in full retreat, and AHQ have the respawn advantage. They were disciplined in the change-ups, sure, but Flash Wolves are looking really undisciplined with their ult usage.
Absolutely. This is the second time as well that you might be able to say that, because we did see a previous push. Sinclair used ultimate, Realman sound barrier as well. Flash Wolves really tried to keep it in there. Zonda had to meteor strike just to save himself, and even that wasn't enough because Dizzy stole his health pack. So now AHQ, the economy, back in their favor. Trade routes open up again. It's all ultimates on AHQ side.
Eric is a little bit low and bleeding, but he is alive and he can retreat. Pops the ultimate there as well, and I believe he does the same just to preserve those health pools, preserve their lives for this fight. And they reset again successfully.
And the thing to consider here is that actually AHQ at the same time, about 3 minutes 30, they already get that 1/3. In fact, I'm pretty certain they got the second third as well for Flash Wolves.
Yeah.
They're working from a lot further behind at the same time Flash Wolves, rather AHQ had.
Yeah, 3 minutes remaining. They're about on the limit of being able to play for thirds, assuming you get 1 per minute, and that includes the time it takes to reset. This is the open out from Zonda now, straight into a sound barrier. They have to commit one of their own, and they lose Jongi. They trade back, but they need more than trades. This is just a fact of assault. Bacon Jack starting to pull a bit more weight, but it's just come a bit too late, and Flash Wolves are already in full retreat.
Now, losing K-Momo's mech at the last moments as well does mean this is a little bit more time wasted here. Bacon Jack, but just try and find any pulse bomb target. I think that would have been folly, even if you had found a pulse bomb target. What are you meant to do there as Flash Wolves? Do you push in? K-Momo doesn't have a mech. You can't do anything with that. So for Flash Wolves, I think discipline in one area and lack of discipline in a complete another. So you are definitely right about that.
It's really interesting because a counterpoint to that is Hollywood, where they were extremely disciplined, especially with their positional play. And not that that's necessarily lacking here, but it's not necessarily stellar either. But here comes another push now with just over 2 minutes remaining. Ultimate's relatively even, so this could be a good opportunity for Flash Wolves as Rapid's pulse bomb has gone wide. Oh, there, no, I lied. That was connecting onto Jongi is what it was. Bacon Jack trades back, but they need a lot more than just that once again. And it's going to be hard to kill Eric with that ultimate running. Sinclair forced to commit the Transcendence, and they need to get a lot of mileage out of Zonda here as he opens up with the attack visor. But he can't really get enough damage on any targets. They're all ducking for cover. The only one left is Hehe, and all they've done is demech the guy. They have all the members of AHQ back. Oh, wow.
Okay.
That could be it. That could be all they need. You can talk about respawns and all that jazz, but they actually need to be able to get back on. That is a full wipe, and that could be all it takes. Now AHQ are going to have to dash for the points. Oh, no one touches it in time, and out of nowhere, Flash will suddenly take it.
I mean, K-Momo, where did that come from? That was ridiculous.
That felt criminal. It felt like Flash Wolves did everything wrong until suddenly they got this 4K.
I gotta agree with that. If you're AHQ right now, you just got your bag snatched away from you.
Yeah,
that felt slightly robbed, I'm not gonna lie. But
you know what that is? You know what that is? That is being in the lead in the Tour de France, and you are approaching the finish line, and someone throws a stick in your wheel. That's what that, and you're just like, come on!
Or it's that meme of the guy with riding the bike, puts a
things
stick in his own wheels, and then just says, K-Momo.
That was well placed though by K-Momo, and you know, you have to be honest as well, AHQ didn't react to it adequately. It should not be that many players die to a D.Va, and then of course, the other thing is Bacon Jack followed it up. They still had 3 members left after that, or maybe 2, but Bacon Jack closed that door very, very quickly. They didn't have time to get the full run of respawns there. Because it didn't have to be the full cap out, it only had to be 85.5. So, look, it can feel a little bit criminal. It can feel like AHQ were doing everything right up until the moment where it all went wrong. But they were, in another way, masters of their own demise because it was a situation where Flash Wolves could capitalize off that 3K.
All right, well, we are going to take a look at this replay now. 4 minutes and 41 seconds remaining for AHQ's attack. Dizzy and Foresight most recently used. Bacon Jack went down quite early here, so this probably is a push where they get the first 2/3, if I'm not mistaken. At least 1/3 should be taken out of this. This is kind of what I'm talking about earlier, where Flash was in the same position, got no progress. They got all of their progress off of one push, which is a little bit scary to consider. But for AHQ, a little bit more calculated. They were working a little bit slower, working on the thirds, piece by piece.
And the thing is, we are a little critical of the Widowmaker pick in that he did take a long time to swap off at Dizzy, but I mean, you kind of hit the nail on the head right there. They were looking to play a more kind of patient game, probably play for thirds, get a couple of picks, force the zoning, force the position, and then cap a third, go back and do the same thing. And I can't blame them for just wanting to stick to their guns with that one there. It's one of those really tricky situations, right? Because had the Widowmaker totally gone off and had they actually been getting, you know, a pick or 2 every single fight, getting each third every single fight, we would have gone, wow, that Widowmaker really pulled weight. That's just kind of the binary nature of it. And the fact that they got themselves into the position they did as well with that, and then nearly actually won it, had it not been for K-Momo's self-destruct, it's hard to really fault the Widowmaker.
Well, the thing is about it is, you kind of said it's kind of a feast of famine kind of play style, and if he had hit all the shots, we would have said, wow, he hit all the shots. But at the same time, why not go on something like Soldier, where you do not
you only have to hit like 20% of the shots.
You don't need peaks and troughs, you just need this very standard, run-of-the-mill standard
and
gameplay.
Then you got an ultimate that hits the shots for you.
And you probably got, they were so close, despite running the Widowmaker for most of that cap anyway. Have they just run something more standard? Maybe they should have just gotten it. And we talk about, oh, it felt criminal that K-Momo just kind of stole that game away from AHQ. Well, you know what? AHQ should have just capped out anyway. They should have finished the map, and then we would begin to time bank and consider the situation. So, you know, for AHQ, I still think it really did go back to them because they had the better cap B defense. Absolutely, because Flash Wolves got no progress, whereas AHQ did get progress. So,
exactly.
I mean,
that's what I say.
I think
it's masters of their own demise.
I think it's AHQ's attack that really let them down because their defense was great.
Well, actually, the other thing that did let them down was their point A defense.
Yeah, I'd agree.
And it was that they lost the point. Look, Flash Wolves didn't have an incredible attack. AHQ actually mispositioned a lot.
Let's take a look at the next replay now, and this is going to be attacking on the other side. So I think pretty sure it's Flash Wolves now. Yep. And Flash Wolves with about 2 minutes something remaining. I wonder
so
if
here we go.
Is,
you ready for it?
It
It is absolutely it. So here we go. K-Momo, and it was actually one that he was kind of forced to use as well. They were really out of resources. They were trying to buy time for Zonda's tactical visor, which they do now. He found nothing at all. And then K-Momo is suddenly taking a bunch of pressure, a bunch of heat, uses the self-destruct, places it just back towards the spawn is what it was. And that was it.
Yeah, I see how you did that. Because he placed it behind the spawn, AHQ thought it was going to land in front of the cap, or rather, where the cap actually is. So they ran towards this one to take cover, not knowing that's actually where the trajectory of the self-destruct was actually going.
And like I said there as well, actually the incredible thing about that wasn't that they got that 3K, because, I mean, again, with no resources left and the defender's advantage, honestly, AHQ probably could have stalled out and started to stabilize anyway. They were on the cusp of getting some of their own ultimates, but then actually Flash Wolves went that extra step, as that extra bit of execution where K-Momo and Bacon Jack closed out the remaining members before anyone could respawn. That's what secured it. And again, I say AHQ, they were a little bit master of their own demise, and the reason I say that is, look, there is always the outside chance that you just get fully team wiped by an incredibly placed ultimate. When your enemy team has 7 minutes to attack you, really, that's just more time and more chances they get to do exactly that. And that's what happens. Sometimes that happens. That's just Overwatch.
The other thing is, because it was a full team wipe, they couldn't really contest the cap. So if they contested the cap, if it wasn't a full team wipe, if someone lived, Karius was about to respawn with the Transcendence. He was on 98%. He could have come out. Transcendence would have kept the cap going for a little bit longer, bleed out a little bit more time, give the opportunity then to AHQ to find some of those picks and ready to turn things around. And we have seen that. In fact, Lijiang Tower is a good example. It was just coming down to Eric Ken, just managing to keep it alive, then suddenly people come back in, couple ultimates being used, Dizzy saved attack visor, and then you win Gardens on Lijiang Tower. So the possibility of that happening was actually there, but a well-placed bomb into a team like you said it yourself, clean up the remaining members. Only 3 people died in the pulse in the self-destruct, so that means 3 other players had to be cleaned up the regular way. And after that,
the old-fashioned way.
Back in my day,
we just shot people. We didn't have exploding mechas or anything. You kids don't know how good you've got. You millennials always looking for the shortcut, always looking for the 3K. We just had to kill them one by one.
I didn't have any self-destructs and avocados on toast. It was just the old-fashioned killing back then. But that's kind of what it is, though. It's kind of what it is, because AHQ had the opportunity to sort of come back in. Then it also says, had AHQ fully capped on out, and it didn't have that little yellow marker, if it was 100% that Flash was needed, then suddenly you have the time for Karius to come back out with the Transcendence.
Exactly.
And then maybe you get a hold on at 99.9%, who knows, but you do get a hold.
Exactly, and I mean, to kind of, wrap it up and put a bow on it, look, it happened, it sucks, but AHQ didn't...
Sucks for one team.
Yeah, it sucks for AHQ. Great for Flash Wolves. But yeah, AHQ were in a position where that was a possibility. Yeah. It came to pass. And like I said, that's just Overwatch. And now they get to move forward. They do have to win the next 2 if they're going to keep this one alive for themselves. And they are going to take it to Watchpoint Gibraltar.
Yeah, bright new day on Watchpoint Gibraltar. If you are the defending team on Cap A, get ready for that glare. Put your sunglasses on so you can actually see the other team as they come in.
That's what the tactical visor is. It's actually just because of the sun.
It's also, it doubles up as that.
You'd
hope it doubles up. With all the technology that you get in the tactical visor, if it doesn't protect you from sunlight, you'd be disappointed. That's the one thing it doesn't have. It's like you purchase like a $300,000 vehicle, and the one thing it doesn't have is a cup holder.
It's like you remember the movie Spy Kids? And like they got that watch that had like all the cool little gadgets in it, but it couldn't tell the time. Right. That's what that would be like. Like you get the visor, and the one thing it can't do is block out the sun. Like it can shoot and aim your gun for you, but it can't protect your eyes.
Well, at least if you're blinded, the gun will shoot itself for you, so you don't need to worry about that.
I've got the sun in my sights.
That's true, you do. In that case, you absolutely do. But yeah, it is going to be Watchpoint Gibraltar AHQ pick. So they got that going for them because, as the away team getting to map number 4, you want to be able to now win your map pick. That's going to be quite important. Otherwise, it's 3-1, and we kind of mentioned before. You don't want to be this AHQ team that had a great start, Lijiang Tower. You win. Hollywood, mistakes. Horizon, very close, could have gone either way. Very, very minor things really changed the shape of that game. But again, early map win into a 3-map sort of sweep from Flash Wolves.
I like that low-key container ship, just chilling.
Yeah, if it gets too close, I assume Winston does something to just blow it out the water. I don't know. I assume Watchpoint Gibraltar is meant to be a heavily sort of restricted area. It's kind of like Area 51. You can't really go too close to it.
Like, I mean, it is in Gibraltar, so shipping traffic still has to be able to travel through that strait. But yeah, you'd think like you can't quite get a container ship that close, because otherwise it would just be way too easy to like stick a nuke on a container ship and just blow up Overwatch. Like, just done.
Yeah, well,
They would make Talon's job
whatever
easy.
blew up Overwatch, it wasn't a nuke. It was something a lot simpler than that. Overwatch kind of blew itself up, maybe.
It was just themselves. Like, it was, yeah. Winston just did a huge fart. Like,
Yeah, I don't know.
God, that would be the most terrible reveal. Jeff, please don't do that. In any case, Zonda going back to swap off the Widowmaker, feeling that it's not quite the way to go for this one. Out the gate now.
I like carries on the Sombra. I like this now because this is something I want to see more out of AHQ, where you don't put one of your other DPS players on the Sombra. Put carries back on because he was very good in Season 1 with that.
Oh, good pick onto Rapid. And by the way, triple DPS for Flash Wolves here. AHQ technically triple DPS as well, but one of those being the Sombra. Flash Wolves are just, they're wanting to go all aggression all the time here, and that is absolutely paying off. There are just too many bullets, too much damage for AHQ to deal with. They've lost all control of this positioning. The payload back underway with AHQ pretty much dead altogether.
This is well read by Flash Wolves because the other thing Sinclair's pick on the Reaper does is it counters out the carrier's EMP. When you do get EMP, usually if you're the Zenyatta, you're instantly dead. At least with the Reaper, not only are you not dead because you don't lose all the shields, but actually you're very effective while the EMP is up.
Yeah, exactly. The only difference is you can't heal your team. That's the big trade-off. But the thing is, they don't need to. We've already kind of touched on it. They're actually putting on so much aggression here. And Dizzy getting picked off, they'll happily trade K-Mama's mech for that. Jongi able to pop the ultimate, just kind of keep the pressure on. All they're really looking to do is draw ultimates out of AHQ and get payload distance. It just happens to be that they're getting even more than that. Self-destruct out of He, like I said, that's the sort of thing they were after. And now AHQ do get some kills through. They do sort of halt the advance for the time being, but Flash also got a ton of progress for very little.
Absolutely, they do. And I think Sinclair actually used Death Blossom somewhere. I just saw that meter go down to 0. I don't know, maybe he just used it outside of spawn so he can change onto here. But whatever the case, Flash Wolves do now change up the composition somewhat, as AHQ does the exact same thing as we approach this hangar station. Soldiers is going to be really important. Whoever controls the high ground, which Dizzy currently does, will have a big advantage.
And all the ultimates up for Flash Wolves here, or rather ultimate advantage. AHQ a little bit lacking on that front, need to get a lot out of the sound barrier, but Rapid already picked off by Bacon Jack, who's the better tracer, as they take down Eric as well. That was just classic Orb of Discord, really.
Yep, it's the standard run-of-the-mill
which is by the way,
Orb of Discord.
It's way better than Orb of Skype.
Yeah, I'm not too familiar with that second one you mentioned, but I'll stick to my Orbit Discord, thank you. The traditional 1983 Orbit Discord, as it is now AHQ trying to get themselves back in there.
I'm just imagining
it's the Orbit Discord's actually a disco, right? It's a disco ball.
Yeah, I'm imagining Zenyatta in like a hair metal band, like as a member of Motley Crue or something.
Yeah, you're giving the Overwatch team ideas.
AHQ are really having to dig deep for this fight though, as Dizzy pops the tac visor, finding nothing for it, and now again, Flash Wolves just have more resources. They are really beating back AHQ hard. Rapid picked off again by Bacon Jack. Zonda more weight with his tactical visor. Closing out on He as well, even as his ultimate ends. Flash Wolves are just all over this one. AHQ going to throw everything in the kitchen sink at this one, but Eric uses his ultimate and loses his life. Very unfortunate, and now they're going to have a harder time holding on to point 3 than they needed.
It does feel like AHQ are being outpaced here. Flash Wolves are definitely playing the game to their own speed, and AHQ are not able to match their speed. What AHQ need here is the ability to just stabilize. They need to slow the game down, slow it right down into something a little bit more comfortable than Flash Wolves may just overstep, and AHQ, if they're careful, they will be able to punish Flash Wolves chasing too far, much like they were just doing. They need to catch Flash Wolves out with their pants down.
This is interesting, and I think the thing that may just catch them out is Dizzy on this Widowmaker. He's got very nice sight lines here. It is tricky for Jongi to dive specifically onto that position. But yeah, all he needs is to get a couple of picks here, and it'll be all worthwhile.
We did actually say that about Lunar Colony as well, so let's hope for better shots out from Dizzy this time around. In fact, defensively, I'd like to say it's probably even more difficult to make use of the Widowmaker, so he's definitely got his work cut out for him.
Yeah, that was the dive from Jongi, which they didn't quite punish, and K-Momo even gets one with the self-destruct for good measure. He knows such one of his own and dies before he gets back in the mech. So again, Flash Wolves, they're just not going to relate. Crappy down. He was the last ultimate remaining. Pulse Bomb for good measure. Dizzy's the only one left, and suddenly the Widowmaker is actually costing them because he cannot be an effective body on the point. They wait for the respawns. Good discipline, and now they come flying back in. It is on Flash Wolves to push it that last little bit over the line. Dizzy on the Doomfist, already down and out for the count, as Bacon Jack keeping on the pressure, the sound barrier to keep them all cozy through the remainder of this fight as they try and train down Rapid. Don't quite get the one clip. Zonda doesn't get much with the tactical visor, but they do zone, and he will catch Keres. Stays alive in the dive, and suddenly AHQ have abandoned the point. Flash Wolves push it through in an incredible time.
And AHQ, I don't believe they had a single moment there where they really stabilized and found their footing. It just seemed like every time they wanted to just back off and say, okay, we need to just set up a defense here, we need to put people into positions. AHQ never got that chance. Flash Wolves never gave it to them. And we even see the debut of AHQ's Doomfist. If that was their debut, I think they need to put it back in their pocket and go for another date for, you know, whatever it is. But
it was like the first time we saw, I think it was Flash Wolves play Orisa, and they're like, never mind.
Yeah, that was against Blank on the body.
Yeah.
Just, the first time they pulled it out, I was like, yeah, I don't think we should do that again.
Yeah, just died straight away, and then we didn't see it for like 2 months.
And the next time we did see a completely different player pull it out,
Wow,
it was Jongi.
look at AHQ's faces there. That was, I mean, Crappy's keeping himself together, but a couple of the players, they're looking a tad demoralized. And this is, by the way, one of those places where you do have Rapid on your team. He is a new player to this tournament. He is a very young player as well. And all of the sort of hardened brains of tournament players here will not be a factor for him. He won't have the same stamina out the gate as everyone else in this game. And they have to win this or it's over for them for this first match against their rival.
And we talk about some of the ways AHQ actually were winning against Flash Wolves earlier on. Kerry's killing Bacon Jack multiple times, well-placed headshots from the Zengarde. That's no longer happening. We're not seeing much more of that. How else were they winning? Dizzy also, you know, able to challenge Zonda in a lot of 1v1s. He was killing Bacon Jack as well onto Soldier. Now, Dizzy's playing a bunch of other stuff, not finding too much success on the Widowmaker, finding most of his success onto Soldier, finding no success whatsoever on the Doomfist.
And by the way, Bacon Jack, I never doubted you. Absolutely been going off.
Who could ever not want Bacon? That's
Jack.
Bacon is always.
what
Jack
if
wants the most
actually-
bacon.
Jack is the bacon.
Yeah, yeah, he is. He certainly is.
Actually, you just call your pig Jack. So that's what it is. But AHQ on their own offense, they're wanting to opt on Dizzy's Widowmaker again. I don't think they're going to get as fast a push, but they're just looking for a kind of slow and steady here, which will probably land them in time bank at best.
I am honestly waiting for Dizzy to prove me wrong because, you know, we've mentioned now, we talked about a lot of players. Are they underperforming? Are they performing to expectations? If they have been underperforming, at least in this match, they've stepped up and said, you know, no, we're playing just fine. So for Dizzy, now it's your turn to prove us wrong. Really come out on top of this.
And I would just like to see him on Soldier where he has performed very well. Payload has been moving this whole time though, and that is what really counts. So Flash Wolves now do kind of have to dig in their heels and fight. This is where AHQ can force Flash Wolves' hand, and this is where they can make some magic happen.
They are, you know, controlling the server room, but this is about where the card movement does stop because this is where Flash Wolves have probably the best possible sightlines onto the actual card itself. Tanks in the front line as well. This is where they draw the line into the sound, and now the Nano Boost comes out, and it will be Flash Wolves engaging first.
They're looking for the dive. They don't really find much with it as the Nano Boost runs out. He demechs though, and Rapid very low, so Jongi's dive does pay off a little bit. They need to not lose anyone here. They nearly lose onto there. They go right off the back end of that. Eric closing that one out. And this is the opening that AHQ really need here. They're keeping the pressure up here, Flash Wolves. They're not letting AHQ capitalize too much, but they need to not overextend themselves now because AHQ's ultimates are starting to come up. And Rapid gets K-Momo but dies to Bacon Jack.
We need a little bit more progress out from AHQ. They're spending a lot of ultimates. Everybody's just about used it except Eric, but we're not seeing too much movement now. Just as I'm saying, that card movement does come out, but Zonda is going to try and slow that down as much as he can. Swaps places with Jongi, and still the supports on the top. They're not really being challenged. Nice
that's
sleep
a great sleep, yeah, and that's actually going to give Flash Wolves the space to regroup. Realman going to try and close out. That forces the ult from Eric. Dizzy getting pressured. Rapid getting some good kills, though. He does not want to let Bacon Jack run completely rampant but now this is what AHQ have needed this whole time. Realman throws out the Transcendence, but it might actually be a bit late with Zonda going down as well. K-Momo just kind of throws out the self-destruct just cause, doesn't get back in the mech, doesn't get anything with the self-destruct. Yeah, no 3K this time around. And again, a last-ditch nano boost onto Jongi. This is actually now Flash Wolves throwing a lot of ultimates. They did waste a bit of time for AHQ, but they don't have many resources for this hangar phase.
And actually, this is now when Dizzy starts to pick up the kills, and as soon as he does, AHQ are able to push on through. You see the headshot he got into Zonda, knocks him out of the fight. You see the headshot, or rather not the headshot, but the body shot he gets onto Sinclair, knocks him out of the fight. Now that's the 2 kills that Dizzy was looking for the entire time, but they had to wait until he gets it to really push on through.
I think part of it actually might just be, by the time the fight has gone on for ages, you kind of lose track a little bit of the Widowmaker. Look, when there's not much happening, it's easy to keep in cover and not get in her sight lines. It's a little bit more difficult to do that when you have to get on the payload. It makes it very obvious where you're going to be. Yeah, one more headshot would have been great, but it's actually Dizzy getting dived on. But while that's happening, AHQ are just going to move the payload, and Dizzy is doing the same thing he did on Horizon, where he's just wasting Flash Wolves' time.
Specifically Jongi, because Jongi is the specified member that has to go for it. Bacon Jack doesn't have the verticality. Zonda actually changes onto the Genji to better challenge Dizzy. And now Dizzy is starting to really hit these shots, so you can see
Zonda
the
pressured
progress.
out. Yeah, Zonda, look, you can't deflect that Tesla cannon, buddy. And another one onto Sinclair. Insult to injury. Yeah, Dizzy going off. We were just saying I'd like them to prove us wrong. Well, he has. They close out on Jongi as well. Yeah, boops and boops to fill up the kill feed for a Mo there. And AHQ will get the 2nd point cap. They are making good time here.
I've got to hold judgment until AHQ can actually finish this map out. I don't want to speak too soon and say, oh yeah, Dizzy's doing well. You actually do have to finish the map here. It's okay to get a couple of headshots in the middle, but if you're not going to finish the map, it's all for naught.
Yeah, they do have good sightlines here, once again, like they had on the defense. Once they get around the corner, yeah, Zonda is going to match it blow for blow. Oh!
Or not.
Straight away! Yeah, maybe this is going to go the same way as AHQ's Doomfist, where they're like, nope, never again.
Oh man, the dinks are coming on through. Speaking of dinks, Sinclair adds a couple of his own. The
real sniper. Look at me,
man.
I am the sniper now. And Zonda is indeed going to swap up the Widowmaker. Dizzy, though, sticking to his guns.
Well, it is starting to work out for them now. And Dizzy, now that he's a little bit more warmed up, he is starting to find those shots. And Flash was a little bit flustered. They don't know how to deal with this. Does Jongi die for him? Maybe not. Zonda wanted to go on the Genji. He wanted to die for him. Maybe not. Tried to counter-snipe. That didn't work either. But maybe he doesn't need to do it. The soldier should be what works for Zonda.
Yeah, they're finally starting to beat back AHQ and do what AHQ failed to do on the defense. That is, find the point where they fight, dig in their heels, take it, and push back the attackers.
Now getting very up close here. I want to get quite personal for the AHQ team, and that probably helps them out because you don't give Dizzy the sightlines. You want to play close quarters. Dizzy doesn't want to do that. He's playing Widowmaker. He wants to be far away from you.
He wants distance, you're quite right, and Zonda closing out on Rapid is great. They do risk being overextended here, but what they are doing is wasting AHQ's time. AHQ now cannot match Flash Wolves' time back no matter what. They want to make it so that they don't get much time back at all.
You've got to be careful not to be overly aggressive here. If your Flash Wolves getting picked on in this sort of area, does give AHQ a lot of momentum.
Zonda's got the high ground.
He certainly does have the high ground, but he's going to lose that high ground very quickly
that's
as soon
big.
as he gets it.
That was very important. That's exactly the risk we were talking about, and good target prioritization out of Eric, seeing that opportunity. Now AHQ going the aggression, as they actually have a huge run of ultimates at their disposal. Flash Wolves do have a similar number, and it's just going to come down to who gets more picks. Already though, Dizzy down. Rapid gets a trade back onto K-Momo, but they're going to need a lot more than just that as his pulse bomb goes wide. They're trying to preserve their own Diva mech. It will not work, and it's going to be a long time for that one to come back. The respawns are a little bit closer for Flash Wolves right now. Sinclair down, one clipped out. Bacon Jack trying to pull the same kind of weight as he pulls Keras with the pulse bomb. The payload is moving. That's what's going to count at the end of the day, and neither team really coming out the top of the fight just yet.
Well, Bacon Jack does go down to Rapid, so far only one tracer on the map, and the AHQ card does move forward just a little bit more. Dizzy swapped onto the soldier as well. No longer wants to do the sniping battles with Flash Wolves. He wants to snipe with Helix rockets now, not a rifle.
Yeah, I mean, it's not quite the hit scan, but it can one-shot you just as well. He down. Was not able to get back in the mech and got very close. That is so unfortunate because it's going to waste even more time for AHQ, who are now just under a minute left.
And this does start to look like Horizon just a little bit, where, you know, they had I guess on Horizon they had a lot more time to play with, but certainly we're at the 1 minute mark where you do have to feel a little bit worried for AHQ. And this is about the time when they swapped off the Widowmaker on Horizon as well. Dizzy onto the Soldier then. Didn't work for him. Will it work for him now? That's a question.
Rapid has been putting a lot more weight though, but they need to pull even more than that. Sinclair, Transcendence out. If they can survive this, then they're in good standing, but they don't. They lose Crappy and Eric. They need to not lose anyone else. They need to not tunnel too hard on Jongi, even as he is low. They need to just reset, take it on the chin, and come back in with the full 6.
And this is when Dizzy actually gets his tactical visor. Carries up on speed with the Transcendence as well. He will be able to counter out Zonda, and the real big defensive ultimate for Flash Wolves is going to come out of Realment. So this is where the sort of stage is set for the final battle of this fight. And the card still needs a lot of distance as we are about to head into the overtime, and AHQ got to get closer to the card if they want to get this done.
No 3K for K-Momo this time around, and now AHQ do have a little bit more. Bacon Jack, though, catches his mech. That's all he'll get for now. Eric has popped the ultimate, but he doesn't get enough. Rapid, however, is pulling the weight. They need to get more. They need to take out this DPS, but they are at least getting cart movement. It is going to be an absolute kick, scream, and scratch to the end here for AHQ. Let's see if they can pull it off as Dizzy finds Jongi. That's a good open. Pressure onto Zonda. He is still alive as he retreats to the spawn, but with just over a meter rather, they get 2 more. That could be all they need. Zonda out the gate onto this Doomfist. He goes down. They're getting it to the end. It's going to go to Time Bang.
And wow, in similar fashion to what AHQ had on defense, Zonda pulling out the Doomfist in the final moments, that's going to be a mistake that he'll probably regret. I mean, Dizzy tried to do the same thing. He got smacked down in equal fashion. One thing that really helped AHQ win that, if you checked Dizzy's position right at the end, he had that high ground onto the bridge section, overlooking the entire third cap. No one could challenge him. K-Momo tried to fly up, tried to matrix him, tried to harass him, got demicked instantly, and Dizzy completely unchallenged, uncontested. That's what gave AHQ that big win.
You know, I do just want to say this. In defense of Dizzy and Zonda both pulling out the Doomfist right at the end, often when we see teams swap onto new heroes for the sake of stalling out final caps, we see them go one of 2 ways. They go for things with high mobility, like Tracer and Sombra, or they go for things with longevity, things like D.Va with the 2 lives, and May, who can go into the Ice Cube, right? Doomfist has the same mobility as the likes of Tracer and Sombra, but actually has a lot more playmaking potential insofar as you can get one pick and really snowball off that. I feel like it is one of the few stall tools that doesn't necessarily sacrifice win condition the same way that a May would.
I can definitely see that point as well. Unfortunately, you know, we're just not really seeing, I guess, the success of that, but you do see the understanding, you do see the
I think it's higher risk, high reward.
Certainly, yeah. I think I can understand that. So I can actually, you know, I can agree with that at least. So for Dizzy now, though, wants to come back on to the Widowmaker, and he did sense that there was going to be someone flanking him.
And yeah, unfortunately, a little bit too out in the open. He was busy looking for Bacon Jack while Zonda kind of had him in his sights. That is good target selection by Zonda. He does pay for it with his life, but all he needed to do there was waste time. That is half of the time that AHQ had already gone, with Zonda finally down. As they are just continuing to get the kills, the AHQ are having a hard time resetting from here because they're actually separated by these people like Zonda and Bacon Jack with this really difficult positioning for them to deal with.
And this is actually a very smart play for Flash Wolves, you know, understanding exactly how the time bank works, less than 1 minute that AHQ had started with. That means you can really play quite aggressively to start things out, even if Flash Wolves get pushed back, even if they lose members, they waste a lot of time for AHQ, and now AHQ definitely on their last legs.
They absolutely have to go. Bacon Jack goes wide on the pulse bomb. That's a good opener. Carries, he's like, oh yeah, back at it, getting the not quite headshots, but able to take out the Tracer. Now they're getting the momentum if they can so help it. Jongi with the nano boost on him needs to pull a lot of weight here. Will have the ultimate to stall out. He's not going to go down in any hurry as they pick Eric and Dizzy. That's big for Flash Wolves here. They only need to get a few more. The self-destruct will not allow Hehe to get back in the mech. Unfortunately, the Transcendence gives them time, and they do have closer respawns, but that only counts if they're getting kills, and it's not them getting kills, it's Flash Wolves. Where is anyone on the cart? Oh, wow. What an end there, and that is a lot of time AHQ are going to have to hold Flash Wolves for.
Yeah, it seems like an insurmountable amount of time, especially against a team like Flash. So if we're back against someone like Machu, we're back against another team where AHQ is far more favoured to win against. Certainly, one thing you have to question then is why is AHQ in that spot in the first place? But if you want to go down that hypothetical route, that is something that AHQ can do against Flash Wolves. I'm not too sure they can achieve it.
This is intense now for AHQ. I said a couple of maps ago, the worst way for them to lose would be to have the performance they had on Lijiang, and then for Flash Wolves to go, all right, we can kick it up a gear, and for AHQ to just never quite match that. That is what they now stare down the barrel of. Look at that distance, and it is 3 minutes plus that they are going to have to hold that cart for. It is nigh insurmountable. Stranger things have happened.
Certainly, you're going to need a few triple kills from a D.Va Self-Destructor to make this one happen, and not from K-Momo either. They're going to need them from Hehe, but if it's going to come from anyone, it might as well come from Hehe. Now, when you really look at the way Flash was defending this, with only 1 minute for AHQ to attack, this was a very clever kind of defense that they set up now, but with 3 minutes, it's certainly much harder. I do like Crappy going on the Mercy here because the longevity, the sustain is really what you need. A res is what's actually going to keep you back into this fight, because if you do die, the respawn time, the respawn distance is far too long.
Bacon Jack is playing Hanzo here, and I think this is so that they can get a scatter arrow kill. Hasn't quite worked just yet, but he can actually stick on this. Like I said, they've got just under 4 minutes to do this, and one quick kill could be all it takes.
It'll be very difficult. AHQ keeping the tanks alive to make sure the card does not move is extremely important. Check Zonda's positioning though, because Zonda getting a quick hack is getting everything they need.
That is big. He actually did complete the hack on the mech. That's the go button now for Flash. Also, AHQ going to full retreat as they lose Hehe's mech and Hehe himself. Crappy no res just yet. This is looking dicey. Still holding on now. They have
difficult position. Who's on the
payload? Oh no! Eric dropped down for it, but it was just too late, and it looked like they were just gonna jostle a little bit more. No one was dead but Hehe. And Flash Wolves just pushed it over the line. That is a heartbreaking way to lose for AHQ, but it is a loss indeed, and a victory for the first game of the returning Season 1 champions, the Flash Wolves.
Well-deserved victory as well. You know, we kind of mentioned coming out of a loss, Flash Wolves typically come back much stronger. We are expecting a lot from the Flash Wolves because Ardian have looked the strongest team so far that we've seen. We haven't seen Blank yet. This is our first viewing of Flash Wolves, and among the top finishers of OPC Season 1, Flash Wolves coming back strongly should give them a very good chance, or at least have good evidence for them to really take it up against Ardian, and certainly that's going to be one to look out for later on.
And they strike another one onto the victory tally in this rivalry. The record now stands at 4 wins for the Flash Wolves and just 1 for AHQ, which was now months ago in the first round robin of this tournament. Rather, sorry, the second round robin of Season 1 of OPC. It is practically ancient history, but these teams will meet one more time before we reach playoffs, and that will be the opportunity for AHQ to deal a blow. They could not strike first blood, but they may have a chance to strike the final blow.
This is definitely a much more, I guess, fearsome AHQ squad coming in than from the end of OPC Season 1, though, because the thing is, credit where credit is due, Lijiang was an incredibly well-fought map for AHQ. In fact, one of the better, more exciting games that we've casted so far in Season 2. I would probably put that one up as number 1,
so
the most exciting game that we've seen. But everywhere else, I think Flash Wolves were quite dominant on Hollywood. Lunar, Horizon, Colony could have gone either way. Now, Flash Wolves only just managed to get that one, and we talk about maybe K-Momo kind of just stealing that one away. This could have been a 2-2. We could have gone to a map 5, but on Watchpoint Gibraltar, unfortunately, again, that did look like all Flash Wolves. So, you know, credit to AHQ in some of them. But at the end of the day, Flash Wolves, the matches that they did win, they won convincingly, with the exception of Horizon.
Yeah, what I will say, though, about Watchpoint Gibraltar is it did come down to 2 things. You're right, they just were the better of the 2 teams there, but it was only 2 arguably quite small things. One was that they were able to find a defense, and the second was they played to the win condition of time bank.
Take a look at the replay now onto Watchpoint Gibraltar later on in the map, and this is going to be the push on through from Flash Wolves. I'm not correct. Does he have the defensive sniper that he was trying to run for some time and just couldn't really find the successes with that?
And this was honestly just unrelenting aggression and momentum from Flash Wolves. At no point did AHQ really look like they dug in their heels. And I know we kind of already said that during the game, but they weren't even getting significant trade kills. Look, trade kills would have even been okay here because of that respawn there, but they couldn't quite get that. And I mean, we know where it goes from here, right? They get the last few kills on top of this because at no point during this fight did Flash Wolves have a numbers disadvantage. And also, every time AHQ came barreling out of the gates, out of that respawn to fight on the payload itself, Flash Wolves did a very smart thing where they would back straight off the payload and actually force AHQ to overextend. A lot of teams just kind of stick on the payload and go, come on guys, we just got to push that last little bit. And it is a very valid tactic to try and keep the enemy team stuck in their base to make that space, but Flash Wolves took a different approach and it worked wonders.
All right, the next replay now, this is going to be, I think,
The final push for
the Flash
AHQ.
Wolves. Is that the AHQ attack? No, I'm pretty
It is. This is the final push for AHQ where they take it to Time Bank. And by comparison, this was much more hard fought. They did start to really get it over the line, but it was trade kills coming through for Flash Wolves. It was not a significant team wipe. They didn't have the same kind of disciplined pulling back from the payload. It was just pick after pick.
Check where Dizzy's standing around here. He actually gets a Helix rocket kill into Jongi and Spawn. Now he's on the high ground and unchallenged. No one will come up to him except Komomo later, and to not a lot of success either. Gets a kill into Sinclair as well. Gives Rapid a lot of space to move around to get to Bacon Jake. K-Moment gets demec'd instantly, and no one is on the card. So Dizzy actually set himself up quite well there. I like the way AHQ handled the final moments of their push.
But there was a moment there where nearly no one was on the cart. They nearly had the overtime tick down for them, and actually Crappy kind of dove for it. Had to really, really keep himself slippery on the backside of that to hide from K-Momo before he was able to get support in. Look, it paid off. I'm not going to say that it was this, really dicey last-ditch move or anything like that, or like they made some huge mistake. They were in a situation and they dealt with the situation. It paid off clearly because they did go to Time Bank, but again, we saw AHQ getting in this very, very narrow situation where had a small thing gone wrong, it could have spelled disaster. On Horizon Lunar Colony, it did spell disaster with K-Momo getting the 3K. This time around, it didn't. They were able to get it over the line. But if that's how these games between these two teams are going to go, the numbers are going to start to swing the way of Flash Wolves.
We're going to take the look at the player of the game there, the MVP K-Momo, winning it out with his Diva self-destruct triple kill, lobbed it right on the other side. Call that a three-pointer shot if you want to, but K-Momo secured Horizon Lunar Colony for his team.
Absolutely did. And that was the turning point of the series as well, because like we said, up until that point, it could have been anyone's game. Heck, it was even starting to feel like AHQ's because they had already held for 5 minutes. They only had 2 minutes remaining, and they had all the ultimate advantage. But the game went the way the game went, and it set Flash Wolves up for that 2-1. They closed it out in Watchpoint Gibraltar, and like I said, that is a good way to start Season 2 for the returning champions.
Absolutely. I think ASU can't be too unhappy about that either, because they have already got scores on their own scoreboard. They have drawn blood against other teams. Now for Flash Wolves coming in with a quick 1-0, especially in what would probably be one of the harder games for them. Now they just got to get past Blank, got to get past Artie and every other team they're already favored against. So not a big problem for Flash Wolves coming in strong into Season 2. Really coming in with the momentum that they had from Season 1 as well. So still looking like that same dominant team we remember.
And the other thing as well is for AHQ, as much as it hurts to lose against your rival team, this isn't a sour loss for them because, like you said, they have picked up those wins. And this was a good, close game, and the wins they have had so far have been good wins. This is actually an AHQ that is still looking like top 3, top 4 material, which was the big question hanging over their heads, given their performance towards the end of Season 1 and the fact that they did place 3rd out of that top 3.
Let's take a recap now of all the matches we had today. We started things off with Hong Kong Attitude versus Lijiang Supreme. The Japanese team still sitting on 0 map wins and 0 match wins, and Hong Kong Attitude picking up their first match win. Then later on this evening, we also had Ardiant versus Mega Thunder, and Mega Thunder unfortunately couldn't really draw any blood against the Koreans, who still take away 3-0, undefeated in Season 2, and then Flash Wolves against AHQ, a very hotly contested series that could have really gone to a map 5. AHQ took Lijiang, and Flash Wolves swept the other 3 maps. And let's take a look at the standings overall now. Ardiant sitting pretty, first place 3-0, AHQ taking their first loss. Flash Wolves immediately going into 3rd place with 1-0. Marchion 1-1, Hong Kong Attitude 1-2. Mega Thunder on 5th place 1-2 as well. And then of course we have Blank yet to play a match and Lijiang Supreme yet to find a win.
And the thing with Ardian there, this is quite interesting. They are the only team undefeated so far. Only a few teams have played 3 matches. The other team with the opportunity to go undefeated this weekend was AHQ. But Ardian have yet to face their hardest matchups. They have yet to play AHQ.
That happens in week 3.
Yeah, yet to play AHQ, yet to play Blank, yet to play Flash Wolves. And like you said, that doesn't happen until week 3. They could look very strong. They could be sitting in this kind of undefeated spot and then suddenly pick up 3 losses, and it turns out they are the 4th strongest team here. We really don't know. So take those standings with a grain of salt, but also there is a lot of truth reflected in them, at least for a lot of those teams. Liverpool have picked up 3 hard losses. AHQ are deservedly 2nd place. Now
We're going to go to the post-match interview now with Zonda, and I'll be translating this one over.
听说拳王只练了2天，是不是？
I heard you only practiced 2 days.
几个小时。
We only practiced a few hours for this.
对啊，
可是今天表现还不错哎。
You played quite well.
靠赛啊，对，靠赛啊。
你是不是觉得这只角色本身就有点 OP？
You feel like
我觉得
you...
他们比较没有针对
played
拳
quite
王
well.
去做调整啊。
I feel like AHQ didn't really change that much from what I
发现
remember.
我说就是已经来不及了。
那他们之后开始了解了怎么办？
刚才就是那个地方就直接飞过来让我急气啊，但我觉得也不是解决的办法，就是他们可能练习也没有对到这只比较多。
I feel like AHQ hadn't practiced against some of the stuff we did today, and the Diva play was, you know, not too unexpected.
你是76是抓到了夺命女的位置，但是你猜到他在那吗？
So
还是
you played 76 against Dizzy's Widow. Did you know where he was?
对方的和尚有挂他狙击，然后我看到那亮亮的，然后我就直接跑
So
去抓他。
I did check his positioning, and I was able to flank him behind and get him in the time back
他们
section.
有可能会出狙击，然后不知道他在哪里，然后我就突然看到亮亮的那个头，然后就
I
跑
felt
过
like
去
I
找
just saw the
还
top
以为
of
是
his
你
head
神预测
sort
就
of peek
是
out.
对面的和尚挂球被
对面
看到
和尚。对帮了我。
所以变成是你开局已经绕了很久，然后绕到2楼区去抓他，对不对？
对。
So you actually spent a long time to look for him. I
只
said,
有
yeah,
我
I
会
went
抓
around.
他，因为其他角色去抓他的话会比较有风险，伤害也比较不够。
那
I feel like
就你
that's the
这
soldier that I want to
几
play
个小时
specifically, try and
那
catch
你
him out.
们队伍比较偏好是这样出这种刺客阵，还是喜欢想尝试出这个蓝鹰加女团的阵容？
蓝鹰加女坦的阵容我们是
So Zaya
比
Ryan
较
comp,
少，因为
we're not trying too
女
much.
坦就也玩比较少，因为当初他转这位置的时候
So K-Murray doesn't have a lot of experience on the
所以我们
Zaya.
比较不会去玩蓝鹰跟女坦这套。
So that's part of the reason why we're not playing that comp too much.
玩刺客为主
对，
的，
玩刺客为主。
And I feel like we're much better running something like triple DPS because K-Murray is better at
会
that.
变成是很像刺客阵的打法。
我们其实一直都有练刺客阵，
We've
对
been
啊
practicing
比
mainly
赛就是
DPS.
大家会比较喜欢拿稳的阵容。对，
所以像月球基地的时候，你们在面对到死神加狙击这个套路的时候，也是想尝试拿刺客阵来做应对。
So even on Horizon, Lunar Colony, you're playing a mainly DPS comp.
狙击限制的。对，我们猜到他们会选狙击啊。然后不过他们的打法比较奇怪。
We actually guessed
他们没办法
guessed
就是
AHQ's
放弃
composition, and
后面
we wanted to counter
我们
that.
是去抓他的时候，他们就是直接入席后新加速回来保。
And I feel like
他们就是有点受限于
their play style was a little bit strange, but we did manage to find a way to counter
没
that.
办法那么好。
是
对，
那再问一个比较直接问题，就是在世界赛结束之后，那你们觉得你在
So after
队伍
World Cup?
调色状况如何？
How did you feel
调
after
试
that?
状况其实蛮陡的啦，蛮陡的。
I feel like we didn't play well
因为
there.
是面对新版本，然后就是被拳王揍的不要不要的。对啊，
对，好像在之前团练就已经被做到不要不要了。
之前团练我们有要求，就是对方的队伍不要选这个，因为我们世界赛不会遇到。那回来的时候只有2-3天可以练习。
So I feel like, we practiced the old meta in scrims for the World Cup a lot, and now only in the past couple of days we've been coming back and practicing the current meta.
对，
无论如何还是恭喜你们获得今天比赛胜利啦！那今天比赛就到这里告个段
So
落了。下周同一时
congratulations
间一样，
to
我
Zonda,
们
and
精
that's
彩
the
的斗争在
interview
状态
now
一样
with
之
the
中
winners of our most recent match. I guess that's probably all there is to say about Flash Wolves and AHQ now. So I guess all there is to look forward to. Let's take a look at what we've got coming up for next week on Friday. Machi versus Blank and Blank's debut. Looking forward to their new roster. That's going to be quite interesting. Blank away twice that day. Mega Thunder straight afterwards. So Mega Thunder definitely paying attention to what Machi are going to do against them. Flash Wolves then take on Hong Kong Attitude. So Hong Kong Attitude now still with quite a lot to prove. They finally got the match win on their scoreboard, but can they get another one? Can they actually draw blood against Flash Wolves? That's going to be a big question.
Yeah, and it is the only team from the entirety of Season 1 that Hong Kong Attitude failed to beat. So, I mean, even just in that
It's on
regard...
their hit list, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's on their hit list. That's one that they kind of want to strike off, one they want to add to the scrapbook, I suppose. but it is going to be a pretty exciting way to kick off that week. And like you said, a lot of exciting matches coming up over the remainder of that weekend as well.
Yeah, we're definitely going to see a lot more blank and a lot more flash walls in that week, seeing that they missed out on the majority of this week. But that's all going to be the week 1 action of OPC Season 2 all wrapped up. Now, the next time you'll see us will be on Friday evening at the same time. So it's been me, AVRL. Joining with me tonight has been Pixie. And we'll catch you all in OPC Season 2 next Friday.